Hi guys, thanks for joining me and welcome to your reading for the North Node in Cancer, South Node in Capricorn. I think that this is probably one of the most important readings of the year. Actually, it covers the period between November 2018 and May 2020, so it's about a year and a half. And I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys use the information in here to lead a good life. The North Node has to do with the direction that you're going in life, spiritually speaking, your personal development, consciousness development kind of stuff. And the South Node is what you are releasing from past lives and past experiences, okay? So let's take a look at your Oracle card to start, and we have the Parrot Spirit. Watch your words. Okay. That's quite a warning, but I do like my parrots. So let's find out what's going on with that. Let's find out what sign we're reading for. And as I do that, can you guys please like and comment? I thought it was Cancer. Geez. Okay, let's do this, Cancer. Come on. I don't think it's going to be that weird of a transit. Well, the North Node is in Cancer, and I had this in my sign in Virgo 2 years ago, so I have some insights for you on that. Today we're going to do like a rotating wheel, which I'm excited about. You guys know I love my animations. So here we go. This is the January 1st right now, or January 3rd, and we're taking a look at the whole year from the 3rd to December. But we're going to be focusing on the North Node in Cancer. That's your sign, right? And then we have the South Node in Capricorn. This reading is for you if you're a Sun, Moon, or Rising Cancer. Even if your Mars or Venus, like me, is in Cancer, then that will also help you get prioritized, especially in relationships. So I have Venus in Cancer, so someone like me would really, or Moon in Cancer, would really benefit from watching this video. So let's talk about what the North Node is and what the South Node is and how it relates to your life. We'll pull some cards and then we'll do an extended on Vimeo. How about that? That's linked in the description. It's called Timeless Karma Playlist because this is kind of a karmic reading. So what is the South Node? The South Node is past lives, past energies you are releasing. The North Node is your compass point of which way to go. I want to point something out before we get into the South Node, that there's not much around Cancer at this time. Cancer's out on its own. All the transits from this area of the chart are on this side of the chart, so Cancer, the North Node, the weight of the magnet is quite weak, and so what we're going to try to do is look for times like this when the Moon is in Cancer, or people who have heavy transits in Cancer. You guys are really the anchors and the signal posts of where we're supposed to go. And I think that this is where this kind of came to my mind, that this could be Cancer. Watch your words can mean that you are setting the precedent for everybody, and in some way, believe it or not, we all are relying on you to pull us in this direction. Whether you're Sun, Moon, Venus, Mars, Cancer, we need your pull here, okay? But let's talk about the South Node, and this is a common conversation with Cancers. We know this, right? The 7th house is your partnership house. This is where the South Node has ended up, and this has to do with releasing those pattern shifts that we talked about. So releasing patterns within relationships that are in some way not working for us, or reinforcing patterns in relationships that are good for us. Pluto and Saturn and South Node are like the trifecta of karma in the chart. Saturn is the karma that you build up with your actions in this lifetime. South Node has to do with the past lives. So in some way it's your actions, but in some way it's usually correlated to karmic situations from the past. And then Pluto represents universal karma. So it's the big, like, wild card. Essentially, it breaks down the probability of any type of experience because Pluto supersedes all logic and all reason from our vantage point as human beings. So it represents karma that works on a much higher level than humans can conceptualize or even understand. So because it's here in this point, it's going to be a wild ride no matter where this is in your chart. However, for Cancer, I've said this many times, Pluto in the 7th house is one of the most difficult and challenging transits that any sign has at this time. Not only does it take forever to get through this area, so you've had this already for 7 years or so, and will continue to have it for 7 more years in your 7th house, but also it's grueling, but it's also this extremes, highs and lows in partnership, power dynamics, all those things are thrown in. So in other words, take a load off, don't feel so bad about things, and take it with a grain of sand. And I know that's easier said than done, but extreme partnership issues will come up over this time period. You are going to be stretched, and you have been stretched, and you will continue to be challenged, but that only helps you to rise to the surface and become a stronger person, to reinforce the things that you value. Some of these things that come through are miracles too, so don't get down on this energy and say, oh, you know, well, Pluto's there, so my love life is going down the drain. No, in fact, you could meet somebody who is way beyond your scope, or way beyond your level, or the probability of meeting such a perfect match is so low, and yet it happens with such transits. So many of you are going to have amazing experiences with this as well. So, oh, wait, no, we want to, oh, not yet. I'm going to pause the video now because I want to talk about the North Node. Because right here, as I said, you can see the North Node with Mars and Mercury and the Sun coming in and Venus coming in. So this is the period between June and July. That is when you are going to have more energy to reinforce your planet or your aspect in this area of the chart. So you will have more energy behind you to actually pull in the compass point. You know, this is the compass point of which way you want to go. So through June and July this year, all of us are going to have more momentum to move forward with the things that we want. However, there's eclipses here. There's the solar eclipse that happens on the 2nd of July. We have Mercury retrograde in Cancer between the 7th and the 31st of July. And then there's going to be a full moon lunar eclipse here in July 16th, sorry. So that's going to eclipse out. So if we're looking at for you, this really means partnership, right? We have an eclipse in January in Capricorn, and it's a lunar eclipse, it's a solar eclipse initiating patternship, relationship patterns. I'm gonna be like somewhere at a store and talking, and I'll be like, patternship, and they'll be like, what are you talking about? I know I'm gonna drop that somewhere. Anyway, so we have solar eclipse in Capricorn at the beginning of the year. Then there's a lunar eclipse mid-year in July 16th. So that's going to be the catharsis of everything in the first half of the year. And then for you in the second half of the year, there's going to be a second solar eclipse in Capricorn on December 26th. So this year starts and ends with eclipses, with a lunar eclipse kind of separating the two sides of the year between each other. And for you, that's very significant because that is going to be a time in your life in which you are going to go through pretty momentous partnership challenges, not challenges, transformation. So really listen to the lessons that you're hearing at the beginning of 2019, or if you're watching later, reflect on those lessons that you've had. And then when you're heading through into July, actively participate in the eradication of unhealthy patternships, unhealthy relationships, and the reinforcement of positive ones, right? And then head off to the end of the year between July and December towards preparing yourself for Jupiter entering into Capricorn at the end of the year and beginning this kind of huge answer to everything. So this could be within your partnership, or if you're single, this could be you meandering around different topics of relationships. Heck, some of you guys might actually open up, or not open up, I don't want to be too prejudicial when I say this, but some of you guys might switch preferences, you know, in terms of sexual orientation. That could happen, and it could happen because it's not, I do believe that people are born the way they are, but it could happen through any kind of blockages you're experiencing. It could be freeing yourself up, and congratulations if you're that person. Let me be the first person to congratulate you on those choices. So this is going to be an energy that helps you, and especially for those of you, those people who have the most significant barriers in their partnership issues, that's going to allow for the greatest opening, the greatest healing for you. So Cancer, in some way, this Pluto thing is really scary. I know I'm talking your ear off, but I really want to stress that it's really, really healthy, and it's really, really important. And those of you who have the most repressed or the most challenged experiences of partnerships, both in business and in romance, you're going to have this opportunity to really clear that energy out. So some of it's going to be messy, but if it's messy, you just have to have forgiveness, and just remember, watch your words. Whenever you're going through like deep work, if you go to an ashram, oftentimes there are ashrams in which you don't speak at all for weeks. And, when you go through a deep process, meditative process, that can actually be kind of awkward when you have to talk to people during it, right? So it's like a peaceful thing to watch your words. Be careful, be selective, and don't judge yourself for the things you're going through. Allow the process to come through you. We'll talk about Cancer North Node next, but now let's pick some cards for the South Node. So you have the Tower. Boom. You heard me shuffling. At this point, I don't even care. We have the Queen of Pentacles, a Virgo, Taurus, or Capricorn. Hey girl, hey. And then we have the Death card. This is the card of Scorpio. And this is the Hanged Man. Wow. Holy moly. I told you it's big. By the way, Scorpio is ruled by Pluto right there. And the Tower is ruled by Mars, which also rules Scorpio. So there could be a lot of Scorpio energy. The Hanged Man represents that there is some kind of circumstance in which you're really caught up in. So if you watch the Virgo reading, and especially if you get the whole package for the timeless karma, I'm just going to take my time with this reading. I apologize if you guys don't like this. I'll do better next time to be succinct, but I feel like it's necessary to sit with you guys with this energy, because I do think you're the sign that is one of the most impacted by this transit. Also, I feel, we'll get into this, but I think you're the most important sign for the next 16 months from my human rights perspective, from like the things that I care about in the world. I think that you are the leader. You are the person who is supposed to set the not expectation, but the standard for all of us. So this is really good news. But let's get through this first, because we have massive cards. And I think that these things are very important to acknowledge. The Queen of Pentacles. I'm a Queen of Pentacles sometimes. I'm more of a King of Pentacles. I come up in tarot more as like a Queen of Wands, Queen of Cups, King of Pentacles. But it's because I have like more masculine planets in Virgo. But anyway, but the Queen of Pentacles, I do understand. My mom's a Virgo too. Queen of Pentacles represents a person who has very strong boundaries. And so what is the theme? I've been doing Cancer readings for a really long time, right? And I've been really thinking about for you guys, what does Pluto actually really mean? I've actually spent a lot of time meditating on it, what it means for Cancers, because I'm so sympathetic. And isn't it all about personal boundaries, about what's right and what's wrong, and about finding the common space between being warm-hearted and being warm-hearted for yourself, and self-respect and confidence. Okay, so I feel like a situation, the Tower can represent that there's an unpacking of a situation that is really looking at, to me, the Tower represents a realistic look at life. It's Mars, right? And when is Mars going to be in Capricorn? I'm thinking at the end of the year. Is that right? Where's Mars? Is this Mars? No, that's Jupiter. Where is Mars? Mars is in Pisces. So yeah, probably at the end of the year, Mars will be in Capricorn, maybe January 2020. And so your time frame for this is maybe at the beginning of the year Mars was there as well. I don't remember. Mars is in Pisces. No, Mars starts the year off in Pisces and then ends in Aries, sorry. And then, okay. So yeah, Mars will be around Capricorn-ish, heading to Capricorn for 2020. That's going to be the massive conjunction between Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto in 2020. That's correct. So this card, the Tower, is ruled by Mars, right? And so that's why I was trying to figure out when for a time frame for this. But I don't think that this is what it's talking about. I think amid a lot of chaos, there's like a voice of reason slash expectation reminding you about your personal boundaries. And I think that maybe the Tower was caused by this. This does not have to be a Virgo, Taurus, or Capricorn, man or a woman. But I do feel as though there is this kind of, amid a lot of chaos, there's this voice of personal boundaries articulating exactly, you know, where you end and where the other person begins. And I think you find yourself in this space, karmically even, because there have been people who have in a certain way destroyed your personal boundaries. So it's almost like when you start tripping, sometimes other people will push you down until you start falling over. You know the perpetual, it's like more of a 30s film joke in which when a person's starts to stumble, everybody ignores and just pushes them along until they're falling on the ground. It's that kind of energy. So a situation had completely mixed you up, and then you ended up in this kind of space and face to face with someone who, if anything, was probably more restrictive of change in any direction. How do you say this? This person restricts what is appropriate so that this does not happen. So this person says, this is my boundary, this is the things I'll take care of, and I'll take care of them well so as to avoid this kind of crapshoot to happen in my life. And so I've been in this situation. In 2005, I had this circumstance in which I was exposed to a really, really bad human being. And I was like, I got shoved around, pushed around from one thing to another. It messed with my head, it messed with my emotions. And then I came face to face with someone like this. And she was minding her business. She ended up being my roommate for a little bit. And it was that calm amid the storm of a lot of different changes. And yeah, it was just, I didn't have a lot of exposure with her, but she's an engineer, by the way, and so a chemical engineer. And so when I had that moment, she sticks out in my mind to this day as this calmness, and she was very chill and very nice and like a good person, a nice person. And so I feel as though this ends the Tower circumstance. So whatever the Tower moment has been for you that has had you tumbling, this moment of tranquility will in some way help you end the chaos, right? This could be a Scorpio, but this to me is energetic. And so I feel as though this leaves you in a predicament, the Hanged Man. You're meant to just kind of sit there and think about, it's like, whoa, it stops the Tower. She stops the Tower and essentially puts an end to the chaos, and you sit there kind of dumbfounded, like, what the heck happened in my life? So this happens with the South Node in Capricorn. And this could be not a person, it could be a general energy, but it feels very on point with what happened to me in 2005, and very similar kind of vibes. I can pick up on it very clearly. So that's what I think is happening to you, or has been happening to you, and you're somewhere in this process. There was the Venus retrograde, right, and Scorpio and Libra, and then boom, change of Venus to direct, change of node from Aquarius to Capricorn, change of North Node from Leo to Cancer, Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. That was all within a couple days, and that was what happened. It was a turmoil, and you're kind of sitting there. It's you know, it's that whole Planet of the Apes thing. Like, you're sitting there on the beach, or you're like, you wash up on shore and you're like, oh man, where am I? Like, it's this kind of dystopic place, coming out from a bunker underneath the ground to look at the barren wasteland after some kind of nuclear holocaust, kind of dystopic energy. So anyway, so you're just, it's that moment of pause, and that's gonna kind of repeat in and of itself, like a turbine in your life, Cancer. It's going to repeat in your life, and I think that that's going to be the sorry, let's clarify, because I get metaphorical and then I don't explain my metaphors. I get it from my dad, who's a Gemini, and he makes these jokes that nobody understands, even I don't understand, but we kind of get them more, because he says all these metaphors that are so left field. It makes sense in his head, but he's not really good at making that connection. I do that as well. So anyway, so what that turbine that I was talking about means is that there's a lot of karmic stuff here. There's what you've done to other people, and not good or bad. This is just karma, right? We're not judging. And the South Node is past karma, right? Past life karma, some chaos event, right? Some massive chaos event that happened in a past life. And this is the wild card. This is why it's, remember, to let go of guilt, let go of shame in the situation, because Pluto here really means that it's a wild card. It's not necessarily your stuff. It's important to maintain awareness of where you end and where others begin. That's Saturn and the South Node, great point of healing. But at some point you have to realize that it's compiled with the singularity, with the universal karma of everything. Yeah, sorry if that's a little bit highbrow. I know it's 21 minutes. Geez, I hope that you guys enjoy it. Give me likes and comments on the video. Yeah, so the North Node, let's talk about it now, and if you guys aren't really bored, then go check out the Vimeo. The Vimeo, if you get the whole package, the Virgo video is kind of the same thing. Virgo got this in the same position. So the North Node is in Cancer, and I wholeheartedly believe that we're moving from a position of real coldness and unsympathetic energy to a very compassionate energy. And even though that beacon is quite weak because there's no outer planets around it supporting it, I do feel as though people like Cancers, Sun, Moon, Venus, Mars, whatever you have in Cancer, that's your responsibility to tell other people to come this way. Let's be compassionate and sympathetic. So it's that whole level of heart opening that Cancers kind of champion. And your golden moment is going to be June, July, and August-ish, beginning of August, as these planets go through. So we're looking at June 9th, 2019. Let's just press play, and then you can watch it happen. And then that's all I need to say about the North Node, is that it's understated. Your transits help it for everybody to see. You're helping everyone to get out of their karma and look forward towards a compassionate resolution. I just happened to look on the bottom, and when I do that, I mention it to you guys. But you have the Wheel of Fortune, which is moving into Capricorn. So everything that you sacrifice this year for the purpose of this compassionate, understanding energy, I think you'll get that reconciled by December 2nd, when Jupiter moves into Capricorn and the solar eclipse happens in that point. That's going to be a conjunction between the Sun, Jupiter for the second time this year, and no, for the first time next year. And it's going to be like this magic moment, the solar eclipse on the 26th of December, with the Sun and Jupiter and the nodes and the moon, of course, creating the solar eclipse. Beautiful energy. So if you don't get paid out for this energy, right? If you don't get compensated, if it's truly a sacrifice, and for it to be a sacrifice, it has to be selfless. It can't be like, I sacrifice because I know I'm gonna get like some good coming out of this for me. No, that's not how it works. And let's see if I can fix this a little bit. I'm probably going to ruin it. No, okay, good. So bright in here. Okay, so let's get this fast before the sun ruins everything. Let's see your north node, okay? So here we go. We have the Hanged Man again. Watch Virgo. And it's kitty corner again. My goodness, crazy town, okay? And then we have the Six of Pentacles. This is wild, man. And this was in the position of Virgo. Shoot, don't ruin it, sun, please. Please, 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 please. Sun, don't ruin my video. How do we fix this? My goodness. Nope. I've ruined it. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. It was such an important reading too. Oh, there we go. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm sorry, you guys. Okay. So this is crazy. If you haven't watched the Virgo video, go watch it, because you literally have the same cards in opposition in the same way that Virgo does. That's wild to me. Okay, so we have Six of Pentacles. We have the Ten of Swords. Okay, this is the North Node. And the Tower again. Girl, look at this. Wow, this is going to need some clarifying. Watch your words. Okay, so I feel like the North Node of Cancer, right? The direction you're supposed to go. I feel as though there's a temptation to take money in order to temptation to ruin the impasse of a perspective leads to complete annihilation, the end of a situation completely. I wonder if there is a, it feels like somebody's paying someone off to do something gnarly, you know, and maybe it's a humbling point to go through this kind of betrayal, massive betrayal, that will lead to setting the point of defense, setting the point of confidence, setting the point of confidence, setting the point of confidence, and the leadership piece, you know, for everybody else. So it's like something massive is coming your way. My goodness. Watch your words. Isn't that watch your words, Cancer? The North Node in your first house. I feel as though the only thing that exists in this is reciprocity too. So this is personal boundaries, Queen of Pentacles. This is reciprocity, which means reciprocity means what you give, what you take. And so I feel like there's two people in this, and they are kind of suspended in their current circumstances, right? And so I feel as though the past is connected with all sorts of different nuances, big questions, big ticket items. The future is set with, you have to let go of the crazy mind. You have to let go of the mind that is in some way, you have to let go of the mind that is in some way breaking down as a result of consequences in your life. And at some point you have to release that so that you can go on living. So the rational mind will, I know this sounds really like bleak, but like the rational mind is going to fail you this transit. And you can't look to the rational mind for answers in situations, because I think that you're reaching an impasse, a logical impasse, and I feel like that's going to severely break down. That's going to severely fall apart and shatter. And I feel like there's going to be a massive catharsis with this. A catharsis is a resolution, an emotional resolution to the predicament that you're facing. And it's going to feel very kind of, how do you say? It's going to feel very like against yourself. It's going to be very hard to pull in this direction. See, this is December 2019 when Jupiter and the South Node are there. The sun's moving in right before the eclipse. And the moon's somewhere over here, yeah? So, yeah, so I feel this is crazy. I don't even know what to tell you guys. I don't want to pick anything else so as not to destroy the energy. But man, oh man. Well, we'll see where this happens. I feel as though the this to me looks like a complete breakdown of the way that you look at things. Let's just put it that way. Watch your words. Things are not what they seem. That's what it says. And I think that you come to realize that, and that's why biting your tongue and watching your words is a healthy thing, because soon enough you will see a greater truth evolving, right? So it's like, I always do that to myself. I always speak before something comes to light, and then when I realize what it is, it's like, oh, whoops, you know, there goes my moon in Aquarius shooting tongue darts again. So yeah, maybe it's a little bit of that passing judgment, and then having that judgment, what you thought was so horrible. This is beautiful. Sorry, it took me a minute because it's so intense, because we have 2 towers, 2 hanged men, right? What you thought was really bad isn't bad. That's what this is saying. You thought something was just dead and done, you know, whatever, that you had to wait for the sunrise. I think you're going to have a massive breakthrough, and I think it's going to be like ecstasy. And I don't mean the drug. I mean in religion, when there's this kind of emotional breakthrough. It's not ecstasy. It is like ecstasy, but it's almost like rapture. That's the word. It's like, I think you will have a rapture, not a rupture, a rapture, and a deep understanding of what is important in life. So you have to give me a like for this, because this is beautiful, and I don't want to mess with this energy. And I think that this is just like a short-term band-aid for you that solves that puts off the greater understanding. I think you could have had a mental breakdown if you didn't receive this kind of physical aspect of things, right? So you would have just not been able to handle it, because so far this is by far the most deep and intense reading that I've seen, right? Yeah. So I think your world's going to change. I think that this is what you have been learning for 7 years with Pluto in Capricorn. And I think that, mind your words, because what you're going to think about things after July and after December is not what you think about it now, you know, and not even after January 2019. So you progressively will learn so much more. It's a very like humbling transit. It's a very, how do you say, it's like a transit that has to do with like humility and becoming a subject, or becoming like at the mercy of the universe, and being open with an open heart to learn the lesson, because life is holding you there, you know. That's the direction. It's a holding pattern. You and Virgo have the same reading, very, very similar, and I think you answer for each other. I think Virgos should watch this, and Cancer should watch that, because I feel like it's reciprocal, like one reading answers the predicament of the other. Yeah. Oh, beautiful. You guys, check this out on Vimeo. Let's see what else we can find out. I don't really know if I can go any deeper. Like, this is as cohesive as it is, you know, as it can be, but let's find out. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye. Hi guys, and welcome back. This is your Vimeo reading for the extension of the episode 3 of the Tarot Truth, and it's a podcast that I did on YouTube that you already know if you're here, so thank you for getting the package or the individual video. And you should probably watch the YouTube video first. Clearing the karma of oppression in the past and a new energy coming forward. And this is the destined energy that you were meant to be connected with for a long time. It feels very warm, this person who's coming in. They have like an earthy, really kind, soft energy, and I feel like it's very natural and very connected to spirit, and I feel as though it's guiding you in the right direction with regard to work or with regard to the other things that you're trying to pursue. The legacy of this is this person's very heroic. That's one of the energies that comes with this scenario. And it's almost like the hero has shown up, but you've already emancipated yourself from the things that were suppressing you. So you got out of the way of that King of Swords on your own in some way, and then he shows up. So he's kind of, it's a funny kind of coincidence. He didn't do that on any purpose. He was just busy with his own things or her own things until now. And now it's almost like the world, nature is celebrating. It feels like everything will come to a real synthesis in the springtime. So expect that to last until spring. And when spring happens, that's when there will be like just the energy is building now. In other words, the energy is building now and it's clearing. And we're going to take a look at what's going to happen in the time period between now and the spring, okay? So this is through the winter into 2019. This card really wants to come out. I feel as though in terms of interactions with higher institutions and bodies that in some way direct the narrative of what you are dealing with, society and country, whatever, I feel as though you'll feel really helpless because the people in power are more akin to this King of Swords than you or this new energy. You have the pure natural energy, but you guys are counterculture. Maybe not necessarily, you're not like necessarily punks or something, but there is this element of counter energy to what you're bringing forward. And I feel as though there will be situations in which people will stand against you. The reason that's motivating them to push forward against you is one is they're, how do you say, intrinsically people understand the society that they're in, right? Intrinsically people understand the society and the country that they live in, the norms, the all those kinds of qualities. And when you pull away from that energy, then they get uncomfortable because it's a threat to their nationalism, it's a threat to their identity. And so that is when they will most likely give some kind of opposition to that energy. But it's important for you to find what resonates with your soul rather than taking a look at anything that they are soliciting or bringing. So I think that you are not going to necessarily in any way have problems with these people. I feel like the King of Air, if that comes through again in a person or a situation, I feel like that energy will be tiresome and you are not necessarily going to like it, but it's not necessarily going to be very evil or really put you out in a huge way. So it's something you still have to work through, but it's not necessarily the end of the world or something horrible. It's something that you have to communicate outward. So when you find yourself in a position with this person or this situation, you have to communicate this energy outward, and you have to in some way, you have to in some way articulate that you don't welcome this anymore. So, and it's going to speak to that person's past life. It's going to speak to your past life, all past confirmations, all past experiences. And it's a point of emancipation. It's like, no, it's a stand, right? You're taking a stand. It's like pulling the sword out of the stone, right? It's that moment of breakthrough. It's that moment of transcendence of something that was very stable and very done a specific way. But the way that it was done was not necessarily, not only not necessarily, it wasn't in any way, I'm just lighting an incense. It wasn't in any way helpful to you, or it stood against you. And the way that the root of that energy, it wasn't to do with like, you know, they had power and you wanted, it's not a conflict of interest. It was at some point in time in the past life, there was a theft of power. You know, there was power that was in some way taken away. There was power that was in some way, you know, taken away, removed forcefully in an unfair manner, or usurped, which was gathered by people in dishonest ways. And so you ended up kind of stuck with that energy. Like, here you go. That's it. You're stuck with the energy now. And so I feel like this is an opportunity for you to speak against this. And remember, your word is a magical embodiment of your will. And so basically what you need to specifically do is speak into existence your true desire. So when you find yourself in front of this King of Swords, whether it's a person or a situation, either with your mind's eye, which is your pineal gland or your third eye, or with your words specifically, you need to make, or you can just speak it quietly, right, to yourself. You don't have to confront necessarily. Some of you will feel that you need to. You should just go with your feelings on that. But you will speak the energy into existence, right? You will speak the energy that you are meant to hear into existence, and that's all, folks. Okay, so let's see your cards a little bit more. So I feel like, yeah, so you know, people don't let go of power too easily. So there will be this energy of really wanting to keep energy, keep the power. In this lifetime, you may find that this King of Swords may keep a certain, they may not accede, they may not give up power and turn it over to you. They may actually remove themselves from the situation completely. So like run away, you know, you've won, but they're going to run away in some way to keep what they have going on. This will be for another lifetime to work out, but it's the King of Swords energy is retracting now, like really retracting, pulling away, going a different direction. It's been caught, right? And you know, when they say the truth always comes out in the fold, sometimes within our lifetime the truth doesn't come out in the way that it should. But over lifetimes, this energy, nature balances itself out, and so that's what we're talking about here. And there's also an aspect to this King of Swords that's very maternal. There's a real deep integration of feminine energy in this circumstance. And so you may find that this is integrated with your mother, how you're treated as a mother. There's like an aspect of this that is that makes this still relevant for you, okay, in some way. The second energy is a desiring King of Fire, or King of Wands, Sagittarius or Aries, Sun, Moon, or Rising, but it can be any fire energy of deep desire and lust. And I feel as though that's the second energy you will confront over the winter time before the new shift happens forward. These are both energies of possession, and I don't mean like ghosts. I mean possession as in people who like to ownership of others and take control over others and not appreciate liberty and freedom. And so I feel like this King of Fire is really, it's almost perverted, the energy. It's like, I want you, so you better be here. I feel like it's another narrative, it's another storyline that you're interacting with. So this is a very old energy. The oldest energy is, remember when I told you about the fish smiling in the tank? That is the oldest energy. That's pure source energy being content with the fact that you're moving along. But it's all watching you to see if you will persevere moving forward, because the King of Fire, again, I'm not picking on the fire signs, but the King of Fire is in some way, you know, it's almost like the Midas's touch, where he has this kind of desire to, you know, turn everything to gold and have everything and all of that. It's that possessive kind of energy, and it's very, very ancient. It's to do with like, it's primordial things. Primordial things means like things from like the source energy, things from the root, things that from the root that are moving forward and in some way, it will not make much sense in terms of consciousness or practical things. It really has to make sense on the energetic level. So you think about this person, and then you feel this sense of this person has in some way put forward attachments into your life, and in some way tries to in some way hold you down with them, and in some way tries to kind of create an environment in which you are his, or create an environment in which you are responsible to the things that he's left. So it's like having a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and then they suddenly come over and start leaving like toothbrushes and socks, and you know, the more stuff they leave, it seems as though they're just leaving things behind, but really they're in some way kind of marking territory, right? And so there's this kind of toothbrushes thing with this guy, or with this energy. It could be a woman, and in some way they're putting stakes in your life. Now the king of air, which we're done with now, is in some way, was very a tyrant, was very much in control, and very much hard to clear this energy. However, I feel like you've cleared that energy for some time in the past. You've already cleared a sizable portion of this, moved past it, and emancipated yourself, although there will be some things in future lifetimes that you'll have to address with this person. With the King of Fire, I feel like that's a more a relevant storyline. It's a more relevant aspect of things. This person has more power than the King of Swords. He likes control, and he is a control energy, but he is not necessarily just he's not necessarily as tyrannical. He's the type of person that likes to manipulate more, and not in a negative sense, to bring people about to his side. So he likes the energy of somebody coming over to his camp, their will. He likes their will. That's an older energy, right? If that makes sense. So that's an older energy when it's as these energies grew over time, and I'm talking about like millennia, thousands of years, as these energies grew over time, the energies to do with the King of Swords, they were much more recent. They were more tyrannical, more imbued in war and possession and like townships, you know, like, so you're thinking like the 1400s or 1500s. Well, the King of Fire is older. It's like Sumeria. We're talking like old stuff, you know. We're talking about like more ancient energy, and this is what drives a person. So men often say that when they're drawn to a female, they are drawn, if they date women, but they are drawn with their torso. The torso is the leading energy field, and I guess gay men to gay men, and this is more to do with men than women, but I'm not being prejudiced. But the energy is it has to do with those roots, you know, where it's come from and where it needs to go, and when you're aware of the intuitive component of all this, then it feels like, you know, like a sunny day, you know, and I'm sensing like a sunny day and like the desert. That's why I said Sumeria, Babylon. Those kinds of things are really, really ancient. They predate, you know, a lot of different directions. And so we're talking about, this is like unequivocal power, you know. You're going to come over to me not because I possess you, but because your desire is to be with me. And so I don't think in this lifetime you're necessarily working through that energy, or I don't think that's necessarily your specific path, but it's close. So if you think of like a Vesica Pisces, which is two circles that overlap, or a Venn diagram, a flower of life kind of thing, this is a circle that is very, very close to your circle, but it doesn't necessarily overlap yours. And so it does in some way, I shouldn't lie, but I feel like you don't have the power to be able to address it in this lifetime quite yet. And I feel like maybe the power over you, it wants you, it does want you, because it desires you in order to affirm itself. Wow, this is deep. And I don't know if you guys know, but I have an obsidian past life regression crystal, and I use this for these types of readings, and that's why they get so deep. But anyway, and I'm holding it now. You can kind of, how do you say, you can hear ASMR. But anyway, so it wants you. It feels very sexual, and it feels, oh yeah, we're on Vimeo, so I can say it. It's very sexual, and it feels very like, you know, I want this, and this is mine. And I feel as though that the energy of the person who came in the last reading, the point of emancipation, is much less powerful than this energy that you're up against through the winter time. So this is very lusty. This is very desirous. This is like fully within its power. It's someone who doesn't in any way need to go for want. They have everything established, and they're still looking. They're still evolving within whatever it is that they have been searching for. But you're a part of their glow up too, and you're a part of theirs. It's almost, it's not a frenemy. It's like a friendship with conflicts of interest in it. But there's a great love there as well. It's much more loving energy, and in fact, I want to say that the King of Swords is a loving energy as well. This is all nature, right? It's just conflicts of interest, conflicts of positioning, because the King of Swords needs you to be suppressed. And I don't think that that necessarily has to do with him. I don't feel as though that has to do with his volition, but in some place and time a long time ago, it was spoken that he would be yours, or you would be his, more like it. And so that energy got attached really, really deep. And in some way it's, you know, I've been talking about these energies for 2 years now. Wow, remember in my readings? Let me know in the comments. I really need you guys to, because the people who get the Vimeo readings tend to be more like deeper fans, right? But if I've been telling you guys about this in the King of Swords and the King of Wands, now I get it for the first time, actually. I was like, oh yeah, get away from me. You know, when I'm saying that stuff, it's not to purge. When I do those kinds of things, it's not to purge, it's to acknowledge, right? And I don't really get, that's how memory works with the past life. It's like, it's to acknowledge, and to, in some way, it's coming through and it's coming in. And the two energies that have been coalescing or going back and forth is King of Swords and King of Wands. And they're almost like too much, you know? It's like just, I just want to have my simple life with my simple kin, and you're desired for this energy of like gods, you know, like it's like God energy. And I don't mean to be blasphemous, but I feel like these people in some way, it could have been legitimate or illegitimate. They could have solicited the universal energy of love of God, and in some way they are transmutating it or bringing it forward and like locking you down with it, because that's their signature, you know. That's the signature that like gods want you, you know, like gods personified as men, and in the possession of, just like an oracle, they in some way want you to participate in their legacy, right? But I feel like you desire something else. You don't want to be a widget. You don't want to be a tool of their energy. And I feel like you don't want to be subject to that. You appreciate it on some level. You love it back on some level. But some of the, like, you don't want to be in servitude to somebody else's energy. And so it feels like, especially with the King of Fire, it feels much more desirous. It feels a lot more pleasureful and good, because the King of Fire is the ultimate, is as close to God. I know that sounds really extreme. Is as close to God as any of these people are. We are all equally close to God, first of all, but there's like some type of a connection here with the King of Fire that is closer to God's tapped in deeper because it's ancient. It's very, very ancient, like Sumeria. And so I think that that desire, it's almost like it's calling for you and wants you to be there with it. But I feel like your journey has to do with this shepherd boy, you know, this kind of relatively humble person. That doesn't mean, I really strongly feel like saying that doesn't mean that they're poor, or that they're going to be like a weight. In fact, they're empowering. So the empowerment comes from the autonomy. You get to become a little bit more like God yourself. You step more into that connection to the universal flow. You are becoming more like you're coming up from underneath the wings of the King of Fire and the King of Air, and it's time for you to transcend and become a God yourself. And I'm not sure if that's within this lifetime. I feel like this probably has to do with the time scale is hard because we're talking about really big themes, right? And so you're coming out from underneath the wing of the King of Fire and the King of Air. And you have studied under there. They're your masters, they're your teachers, but also they're your points of suppression. And I feel like this person who's coming through is going to hold your hand, and you two together are on a legacy to ascend. It's almost reminding me of the story of Osiris and Isis, and those are the two gods that had the new universe Horus born, and they opposed the god Set. Set was Osiris's brother who maimed him and tortured him and cut him up into a million pieces, and then Isis salvaged the situation by grabbing his phallus and having sex with it, and then having the new universe. But it's this regeneration, salvaging, and I feel like maybe conversely that story that just came through about Osiris and Isis, I feel like the inverse is happening now. That person's coming in and salvaging you from the legacy is that you need to be emancipated from underneath the control of two very, very powerful energies of the masculine. This is deep. I hope you guys aren't disappointed, because some people are really not into this kind of level of stuff. But I feel like you got to think of all three energies as somehow benefic, and they're in some way, benefic means positive, and so they are in some way rotating and giving forward different aspects of the reality. They're giving forward different aspects of the reality and the signature. So the King of Fire will the desire. So this King of Fire is in some way going to, in some way, try to create. Their desire is manifesting as cruelty in part, or in a control over home, or over control over home or a place of living. And I feel like this needs to be negotiated before that new person starts getting more and more in the situation. The King of Air is definitely in the past and has a lot to do with something very far away. So almost now I'm getting the download that it has to do with another galaxy. So this is to do with a war. Oh man, this is the download. This has to do with the galaxy far away, that it's a non-human galaxy where there is a war happening, and this energy has come through to us. It's almost like it's a part of our memories and reality, because it was like a beacon of help that they were shooting out into the universe. They were in some way trying to let everyone know what's going on, or maybe the energy of that war was so great that it permeated out to everyone else in the universe. And it could be beyond universe. It feels very, very distant. Like I don't think I've even felt something that far beyond. This is so crazy. And it's coming through in your life. This is wild. Oh my God. I love doing these readings. But yeah, it's definitely from, okay, so let me try to describe it. So it's definitely a world some far away, and the non-shape entities that are in a war in some way or in conflict, there's something very perilous that's going on there. It's very like it's a full-on battlefield or war. And so I feel as though there's it's almost like there the king of air is like, of course you're subservient to me because I hold so much power. It's like it's you shouldn't sweat it because it's like an alien energy, you know, and it's coming through in order to give us awareness to avoid doing the same thing here, you know, at some point. So it's a seed that was sent out from another universe, from another place, another galaxy, another place in time. And a part of that has to do with trying to avoid the mishaps of what they're learning, but they're very much more elevated. They're much more in a different space and time. And so it has to do with words, the things that people say to words. This is connected with the idea that we're not supposed to speak ill to each other. That's this idea. That's the King of Swords. And it comes from that place. It comes from that place. In all religions, we say don't speak ill of each other and to each other. In the Jewish faith, which is probably my favorite one, you say when somebody speaks ill of you, you're supposed to be grateful and be thankful that they have spoken ill because they have taken on your sin. So this is like high vibrational energy. And I feel, wow, we saw the root of that. The root of that is celestial, and it's universal. My God, I almost feel like I should put this on YouTube instead. So okay. And then the king of, I'll put this on YouTube. I don't think this deserves to be paid for. If you guys want to pay for it, then just rent the karma videos anyway. I'm gonna do this for free for you guys because it's for everybody should hear this. And then because it got so deep. But the king of fire is another energy, and it's primordial. It's funny how you think that something's more shallow. It hit the earth, that consciousness and awareness. It started really manifesting heavy in the 1500s or 1400s. But it was see, it's not bad. It's just, it's not what you want right now for yourself. It's like you have three pieces and they're juggling around through past lives and past experiences. Okay. And the king of fire is a primordial energy from here on earth, and it's very desirous, and it's very much it's coercive. Now I feel like it's almost like the king of swords or the king of air is like, you say what I do because, you know, you have no other option. The king of fire is like, let me corner you and create a situation where you have no other option so that you succumb to my desire. So you succumb to my needs, which is to do with like, I'm thinking of like, I'm thinking of like some kind of king or some kind of ruler that plays with people like ants. And I don't think it comes from, it's a horrible thing in one way, but in one way, it's like an expression of ancient energy. It's pushing things along in a certain way in order to actualize things. And, you know, when a person does something like that, they're accruing the karma of all of those actions. So they're creating that building and that destroying mechanism here on Earth, right? Okay, that's ancient. My stomach's gurgling. Sorry about that. I don't even know what card to pick up. Here, I'll use these. Wow. Let me know if this hit the spot. Yeah, this is going on YouTube for sure. Here is the next message. I got the King of Wands. Oops. Okay. So we have the King of Wands in some way. So the King of Wands in some way is a ruler, and he's very youthful in his energy. he's kind of pointing the finger at things and kind of abrasive and kind of just, it's manifesting as like a energy that has to do with how do you say, just immaturity, or still coming into its own. Like a droplet has fallen away from the river and is now creating its own river, if that makes sense. And in some way it's a brash energy. It makes me think of almost like a spoiled teenager, you know, that's acting away. And I feel like they're kind of sticking the finger in your face. They're sticking the finger on their face while they're being directed away in a new direction. Stupid energy right now. But that doesn't mean that the King of Fire is stupid. They're not stupid. It's a very ancient, it makes me think of like a supreme ruler kind of thing. But I feel like, yeah. But the situation will end. The situation will end when you see it for what it is. And as you see it for what it is, it's not going to be as intimidating. Okay, you guys, I'm not going to do a Vimeo reading, but I hope you guys support my videos here. And if you do want to support this Karma series, you can rent the Karma series. I definitely will put more videos in there in the future tense. I just thought that this should be published on YouTube, so please share the video, like, and subscribe, and check out the other videos in this series. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye-bye. Hi Cancer, and thank you for joining me, and welcome to this reading for July through December 2018. I'm excited to be here to bring you your astrological forecast. Now this is a very short list. I made it short because it's kind of a lot of information for some people to take in, and so I just want to make sure that you guys get a good overview, but yet aren't doused with a lot of astrological information. Now these readings are a supplement to the main reading that I did on YouTube. It's actually two readings now, so there's one for the entire year that I posted back in December or November, and one that I'm posting now for you guys for the latter part of the year, July through December. So both of those readings are available in the links provided below. And also I've posted another reading on Instagram for the entire year using this astrological wheel as kind of like the idea behind it. And so I've picked a card, a higher arcana card for each of the houses, and explained it in an Instagram post. That's available in the link provided below. And then I clarified each of the houses with a small mini reading that I posted to Vimeo that you guys were able to rent. Now at this point, I'm not sure if that post on Instagram had reached 500 hearts, but I did offer to all the signs that if they got 500 hearts for the post, that I would release those rental videos from Vimeo and make them publicly available on YouTube. Either some of them or all of them. I'm not sure which one yet. So if you do want to rent and support the channel and me, then by all means go to Vimeo and do that. But if you don't have the resources or just want a free reading, then hold on tight, and there's a very good possibility that some, if not all, those videos are available. I am going to provide links down below for you, so if you need to find the readings, or to find out, it will be announced in the About section, because at the time of filming I'm not quite sure what exactly is going on with that. So just read in the About section. All the videos are linked there. Okay, that's a lot of information, sorry, but sorry not sorry. And then but let's take a look through the chart. There's about 5 different charts that I'm going to show you today, so it's a real summary of what's going on. On July 5th, we have Chiron going into retrograde. So Chiron is currently in Aries in your 10th house. It's at the top of the chart. So this gives us an idea of what kind of temperament the whole year is going to take. This is going to be a reflective time for you, Cancer. You're going to be really looking at kind of what has led you here and how and what you're doing. There's going to be a fair bit of healing that you have an opportunity to do. The retrograde period for Chiron lasts between July 5th and December 9th, and we'll go over your MC line. So for you, that's really significant because it is going to be the main theme of your life over the next 5 or 6 months. Next, we have July 10th. Jupiter goes direct, woohoo, in your 5th house. So this is the house of romance. This is when your romantic life will pick up. So you will definitely have, different kinds of things that come up for you in terms of romance and relationships. Relationships with your children improve as well. There's also here a beautiful grand trine in water. This isn't a long-term one because it involves the sun and the moon. But it's really definitely a beautiful energy for when Jupiter goes direct. If you've been waiting to kind of make a connection with someone and that had been postponed because Jupiter was retrograde, this is a nice time for you to move forward in that direction. On July 12th, and this is the chart for July 12th, we have the solar eclipse in your sign, which is a partial solar eclipse at 20 degrees Cancer. So anybody who's born in the second week of July are those of you who will experience this most strongly. It might be conjunct your sun, but this is really initiating something new. So if you want to turn over a new leaf, if you want to be a different person, then you definitely want to take this energy on. Eclipse energy, new moon energy eclipses things in, so you will have a lot of momentum to get going on things. In fact, if you want to get away from any situations that came up in the Lilith transit next to Pluto, this is the time to do it. If you're interested in learning more about that transit, go to the astrological video for January through June. That is linked down below, and I explain that there. Okay, so let's go on to the next map. Okay, so now we're looking at August 7th. This is a chart for August 7th, but in July 26th, Mercury goes retrograde again, and this is going to happen in the sign of Leo. And so the retrograde period for Mercury is July 26th through August 19th. So this is going to affect any financial matters. Just as a recap, we had the first retrograde period here in the 10th house. I talked about that in the first video for the first part of the year. But here in the second one, financial issues, again, be careful with signing contracts, be careful with any types of financial negotiations. This is also a nice break for you because Lilith will come out of the 7th house. So no more open enemy, no more, getting into it with anyone. You're moving on into change and transition that brings with it its own things that are difficult. I'll make a special video for this, but definitely the pressure is off in terms of partnerships and relationships and things that can in some way negatively affect you, and you can feel targeted by like a bully or someone who's kind of pushing your buttons or giving you a hard time. Okay, so August 7th we have Uranus retrograde. This retrograde period is going to last until 2019. I don't think Uranus goes back into Aries, but I think that Uranus does kind of hover so close that this affects your public life. This just means like a return to a more normal way of doing things, maybe more conservative friends through this time. It's a nice long transit, so this is kind of going out from doing things that are kind of out on a limb to doing things that are maybe more kind of conservative. Okay, so the next transit to recognize is August 11th, and I'm not sure if there we go, solar eclipse. So we have two partial solar eclipses back to back, and this is a partial solar eclipse that happens in Leo at 18 degrees here in your 2nd house. So remember, new moon eclipses eclipse something new in. So this is definitely an opportunity to start something new with regard to financial circumstances. This is the end of the retrograde period for Mercury, but I would say hold off 5 days until Mercury is direct before you sign something. But you can definitely make plans to go forward financially in some specific direction. Next, on the 27th, we see Mars going direct in Capricorn. So this is the transit that I've been talking about a lot Specifically in the first video, I did talk about this a lot, so check that video down below. For you, this is relevant, of course, because it's to do with your partnerships and relationships. And you're going to see actually between late August and late September, all these planets go direct. So on the 7th of September, or the 6th of September, Saturn will go direct in Capricorn. So this will add pressure to kind of weed out unreasonable relationships. When Saturn goes direct, he really expects us to clean up our act, and that can be quite alarming, because suddenly you have to change and boom, you got to get with the program. So this can be like end of your summer romance kind of situation where reality sets in. And then in September 30th, we have Pluto going direct in your 7th house. So again, the theme over and over again every single year is half of the year you're really addressing issues to do with karma from the past. So karma from past relationships or accrued karma in your life. But now in the second part of the year, when Pluto is direct, then we're dealing with forward moving karma, which is kind of a more difficult concept because you haven't lived it yet. But if everything is happening at the same time, then it all is relevant. So this is forward moving motion of Pluto. And so the influences have more to do with progress, and the other direction has to do with regress, but they're both actually kind of the same thing. So without getting into it too much, this forward moving Pluto it's just a shift. Think of it as a pendulum shift from one way of doing things to another. Expect significant changes in your life between the two sides. This can actually really destabilize partnerships, because suddenly maybe only half the time two people see eye to eye. So if you're seeing eye to eye with someone all 12 months of the years that Pluto is in 7th house, really good chance that this is a good match for you. So if you're not seeing too much flux when Pluto goes retrograde and direct, then this is a good idea that this is something that is functional for you, that works in your life. And Mars, of course, on August 27th goes direct. And so Mars is the planet of war, open enemies. Be careful for any latent attack, but just kind of brace yourself and all will be well, okay? And don't engage through this period. Get engaged if you want to, but don't engage any kind of combat or any kind of, any kind of fighting energy or disagreement. Okay, next we have Venus going retrograde. This will happen in October. So let's see where I think I have a chart for that. We have Venus retrograde in Scorpio. She will go direct in Libra on November 16th, and she goes retrograde on November 5th. Really bad for romantic relationships. Do not go back. Well, do not start a new relationship. Specifically for you, because of this transit, do not start a relationship between October 5th and November 16th. It's going to be a bad deal. However, if there's someone who you want to bring back from the past, think of the Last Judgment card. This is the time to do it. And then finally, node switch. Woohoo! Exciting. So November 16th, the North and the South node switch. They move into your first house. The North node and the South node moves into your house of partnerships. This is a big transit. It lasts a whole year. So I had this transit in my chart 2 years ago, and it was really productive. I really got to learn a lot about myself, and I changed a lot as a person. And so I hope that the same happens for you. Liberation from entanglements from other people and what they want you to do. Good stuff. You're just moving forward. So Jupiter moves into Sagittarius in your 6th house on November 8th. And so this is going to give you a lot of opportunity for really the things that you do on a regular basis, the things that are habit, the work that you do, not the career, but the actual stuff that you do, chores that you do every day, they will have immense payoff this year if you are practicing like regular habit behavior, like doing like working out, for example, or possibly something else that you do on a regular basis that's not a part of your career but yet is still kind of work oriented. Those things will really pay off for you this year. Although this is a less kind of glamorous transit for Jupiter, it has its place. So I would say that it's not so bad after all, and definitely prepares you for this stellium the following year, which is going to be a gong show. Mars moves into Pisces November 15th. So this is 9th house. I have no idea why I wrote that, but there it is. There's a lot of things in Pisces, but the moon transits all the time. So I wouldn't get too worked up over that. And then Mercury goes retrograde in Sagittarius at the end of the year on November 16th. Where we go? Hold on. What's going on here? November 16th. Whoops. Let me find November. Let's see. Oh, I think I just have this map. So we have to do, so on November 16th we have Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius, which is here in your 6th house. Again, be very careful with communication all year, every single Mercury period. Be careful. This is your career, this is your money, this is your day-to-day activities. You might get caught up in a wrong contract. Do not sign contracts during those times. The Mercury retrograde period lasts from November 16th through December 6th. This is a very peculiar time for you and Mercury, and so you definitely want to honor the effect of Mercury retrograde. I'm not the one to fearmonger that transit at all, so really trust that I'm telling you for a reason. Okay, November 24th, Neptune goes direct, and then just pay attention. Did I talk about this? I talked about this in the first video, so refer to the first video if you want to understand how Neptune works in retrograde. I'll definitely do a video also when it goes retrograde this year. So December 9th, Chiron goes direct, and that is in Aries. So Chiron is in Pisces, sorry, and will kind of hover over your MC line. You're the one who's probably the most affected by this out of all the signs. Big theme of healing, looking at your weaknesses and growing from them, applying your weaknesses to help others, being a role model, all that kind of stuff. Really nice transit, but can be quite introspective and difficult. So if you need some downtime this year, I would really recommend it. Even with this transit over the next 3 years, you're going to be in for some really huge energies that you're going to have to contend with and deal with. I would say keep a low profile and keep it humble, and you'll be okay. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Check out my tarot readings on YouTube and on Instagram. I will talk with you soon. Happy 2018. Bye. Hi Cancer, and thank you for joining me, and welcome to this reading for July through December 2018. I'm excited to be here to bring you your astrological forecast. Now this is a very short list. I made it short because it's kind of a lot of information for some people to take in, and so I just want to make sure that you guys get a good overview but yet aren't doused with a lot of astrological information. Now these readings are a supplement to the main reading that I did on YouTube. It's actually 2 readings now, so there's one for the entire year that I posted back in December or November, and one that I'm posting now for you guys for the latter part of the year, July through December. So both of those readings are available in the links provided below, and also I've posted another reading on Instagram for the entire year using this astrological wheel as kind of like the idea behind it. And so I've picked a higher arcana card for each of the houses and explained it in an Instagram post. That's available in the link provided below. And then I clarified each of the houses with a small mini reading that I posted to Vimeo that you guys were able to rent. Now at this point, I'm not sure if that post on Instagram had reached 500 hearts, but I did offer to all the signs that if they got 500 hearts for the post, that I would release those rental videos from Vimeo and make them publicly available on YouTube. Either some of them or all of them. I'm not sure which one yet. So if you do want to rent and support the channel and me, then by all means go to Vimeo and do that. But if you don't have the resources or just want a free reading, then hold on tight, and there's a very good possibility that some, if not all, those videos are available. I am going to provide links down below for you, so if you need to find the readings, or to find out, it will be announced in the About section, because at the time of filming I'm not quite sure what exactly is going on with that. So just read in the About section. All the videos are linked there. Okay, that's a lot of information, sorry, but sorry not sorry. And then but let's take a look through the chart. There's about 5 different charts that I'm going to show you today, so it's a real summary of what's going on. On July 5th, we have Chiron going into retrograde. So Chiron is currently in Aries in your 10th house. It's at the top of the chart. So this gives us an idea of what kind of temperament the whole year is going to take. This is going to be a reflective time for you, Cancer. You're going to be really looking at kind of what has led you here and how and what you're doing. There's going to be a fair bit of healing that you have an opportunity to do. The retrograde period for Chiron lasts between July 5th and December 9th, and we'll go over your MC line. So for you, that's really significant because it is going to be the main theme of your life over the next 5 or 6 months. Next, we have July 10th. Jupiter goes direct, woohoo, in your 5th house. So this is the house of romance. This is when your romantic life will pick up. So you will definitely have, different kinds of things that come up for you in terms of romance and relationships. Relationships with your children improve as well. There's also here a beautiful grand trine in water. This isn't a long-term one because it involves the sun and the moon. But it's really definitely a beautiful energy for when Jupiter goes direct. If you've been waiting to kind of make a connection with someone and that had been postponed because Jupiter was retrograde, this is a nice time for you to move forward in that direction. On July 12th, and this is the chart for July 12th, we have the solar eclipse in your sign, which is a partial solar eclipse at 20 degrees Cancer. So anybody who's born in the second week of July are those of you who will experience this most strongly. It might be conjunct your sun, but this is really initiating something new. So if you want to turn over a new leaf, if you want to be a different person, then you definitely want to take this energy on. Eclipse energy, new moon energy eclipses things in, so you will have a lot of momentum to get going on things. In fact, if you want to get away from any situations that came up in the Lilith transit next to Pluto, this is the time to do it. If you're interested in learning more about that transit, go to the astrological video for January through June. That is linked down below, and I explain that there. Okay, so let's go on to the next map. Okay, so now we're looking at August 7th. This is a chart for August 7th, but in July 26th, Mercury goes retrograde again, and this is going to happen in the sign of Leo. And so the retrograde period for Mercury is July 26th through August 19th. So this is going to affect any financial matters. Just as a recap, we had the first retrograde period here in the 10th house. I talked about that in the first video for the first part of the year. But here in the second one, financial issues, again, be careful with signing contracts, be careful with any types of financial negotiations. This is also a nice break for you because Lilith will come out of the 7th house. So no more open enemy, no more, getting into it with anyone. You're moving on into change and transition that brings with it its own things that are difficult. I'll make a special video for this, but definitely the pressure is off in terms of partnerships and relationships and things that can in some way negatively affect you, and you can feel targeted by like a bully or someone who's kind of pushing your buttons or giving you a hard time. Okay, so August 7th we have a Uranus retrograde. This retrograde period is going to last until 2019. Uranus I don't think Uranus goes back into Aries, but I think that Uranus does kind of hover so close that this affects your public life. This just means like a return to a more normal way of doing things, maybe more conservative friends through this time. It's a nice long transit, so this is kind of going out from doing things that are kind of out on a limb to doing things that are maybe more more kind of conservative. Okay, so the next transit to recognize is August 11th, and I'm not sure if yeah, there we go, solar eclipse. So we have two partial solar eclipses back to back, and this is a partial solar eclipse that happens in Leo at 18 degrees here in your second house. So remember, new moon eclipses eclipse something new in. So this is definitely an opportunity to start something new with regard to financial circumstances. This is the end of the retrograde period for Mercury, but I would say hold off 5 days until Mercury is direct before you sign something. But you can definitely make plans to go forward financially in some specific direction. Next, on the 27th, we see Mars going direct in Capricorn. So this is the transit that I've been talking about a lot. Specifically in the first video, I did talk about this a lot, so check that video down below. For you, this is relevant, of course, because it's to do with your partnerships and relationships. And you're going to see actually between late August and late September, all these planets go direct. So on the 7th of September, or the 6th of September, Saturn will go direct in Capricorn. So this will add pressure to kind of weed out unreasonable relationships. When Saturn goes direct, he really expects us to clean up our act, and that can be quite alarming, because suddenly you have to change and boom, you got to get with the program. So this can be like end of your summer romance kind of situation where reality sets in. And then in September 30th, we have Pluto going direct in your 7th house. So again, the theme over and over again every single year is half of the year you're really addressing issues to do with karma from the past. So karma from past relationships or accrued karma in your life. But now in the second part of the year, when Pluto is direct, then we're dealing with forward moving karma, which is kind of a more difficult concept because you haven't lived it yet. But if everything is happening at the same time, then it all is relevant. So this is forward moving motion of Pluto, and so the influences have more to do with progress, and the other direction has to do with regress, but they're both actually kind of the same thing. So without getting into it too much, this forward moving Pluto it's just a shift. Think of it as a pendulum shift from one way of doing things to another. Expect significant changes in your life between the two sides. This can actually really destabilize partnerships, because suddenly maybe only half the time two people see eye to eye. So if you're seeing eye to eye with someone all 12 months of the years that Pluto is in 7th house, really good chance that this is a good match for you. So if you're not seeing too much flux when Pluto goes retrograde and direct, then this is a good idea that this is something that is functional for you, that works in your life. And Mars, of course, on August 27th goes direct. And so Mars is the planet of war, open enemies. Be careful for any latent attack, but just kind of brace yourself and all will be well, okay? And don't engage through this period. Get engaged if you want to, but don't engage any kind of combat or any kind of, any kind of fighting energy or disagreement. Okay, next we have Venus going retrograde. This will happen in October. So let's see where I think I have a chart for that. We have Venus retrograde in Scorpio. She will go direct in Libra on November 16th, and she goes retrograde on November 5th. Really bad for romantic relationships. Do not go back. Well, do not start a new relationship. specifically for you, because of this transit, do not start a relationship between October 5th and November 16th. It's going to be a bad deal. However, if there's someone who you want to bring back from the past, think of the Last Judgment card. This is the time to do it. And then finally, node switch. Woohoo! Exciting. So November 16th, the North and the South node switch. They move into your first house. The North node and the South node moves into your house of partnerships. This is a big transit. It lasts a whole year. So I had this transit in my chart 2 years ago, and it was really productive. I really got to learn a lot about myself, and I changed a lot as a person. And so I hope that the same happens for you. Liberation from entanglements from other people and what they want you to do. Good stuff. You're just moving forward. So Jupiter moves into Sagittarius in your 6th house on November 8th. And so this is going to give you a lot of opportunity for really the things that you do on a regular basis, the things that are habit, the work that you do, not the career, but the actual stuff that you do, chores that you do every day. They will have immense payoff this year if you are practicing like regular habit behavior, like doing like working out, for example, or possibly something else that you do on a regular basis that's not a part of your career but yet is still kind of work oriented. Those things will really pay off for you this year. Although this is a less kind of glamorous transit for Jupiter, it has its place. So I would say that it's not so bad after all, and definitely prepares you for this stellium the following year, which is going to be a gong show. Mars moves into Pisces November 15th. So this is 9th house. I have no idea why I wrote that, but there it is. There's a lot of things in Pisces, but the moon transits all the time. So I wouldn't get too worked up over that. And then Mercury goes retrograde in Sagittarius at the end of the year on November 16th. Where we go? Hold on. What's going on here? November 16th. Whoops. Let me find November. Let's see. Oh, I think I just have this map. So we have to do. So on November 16th, we have Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius, which is here in your 6th house. Again, be very careful with communication all year. Every single Mercury period, be careful. This is your career. This is your money. This is your day-to-day activities. You might get caught up in a wrong contract. Do not sign contracts during those times. The Mercury retrograde period lasts from November 16th through December 6th. This is a very peculiar time for you and Mercury, and so you definitely want to honor the effect of Mercury retrograde. I'm not the one to fearmonger that transit at all, so really trust that I'm telling you for a reason. Okay, November 24th, Neptune goes direct, and then just pay attention. Did I talk about this? I talked about this in the first video, so refer to the first video if you want to understand how Neptune works in retrograde. I'll definitely do a video also when it goes retrograde this year. So December 9th, Chiron goes direct, and that is in Aries. So Chiron is in Pisces, sorry, and will kind of hover over your MC line. You're the one who's probably the most affected by this out of all the signs. Big theme of healing, looking at your weaknesses and growing from them, applying your weaknesses to help others, being a role model, all that kind of stuff. Really nice transit, but can be quite introspective and difficult. So if you need some downtime this year, I would really recommend it. Even with this transit over the next 3 years, you're going to be in for some really huge energies that you're going to have to contend with and deal with. I would say keep a low profile and keep it humble, and you'll be okay. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Check out my tarot readings on YouTube and on Instagram. I will talk with you soon. Happy 2018. Bye. Hey Capricorn, welcome back, and thank you for joining me for your reading. This is your tarot and astrology reading for November. I'm super excited to be here. It was a haul, to tell you the truth. I was supposed to be done a week ago, and guess what? Life happened. Okay, so things are good. How are things with you? This is your reading for the for the Vimeo if you guys want to rent it down below. It's got a lot of stuff going on, but I think good things are happening for you. It starts off good. There's a bunch of stuff that happens in the middle, and then it ends good as well. I feel as though there is a significant amount of adjustment that you're making this month. I wouldn't get worried about it too much, but you have 4 5s that show up in the reading. Where is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Which means that if it was 3, then it'd be a problem. But since all 5 of them, or all 4 of them showed up, it's all right. And I feel as though the first lesson is that you're supposed to, in some way, through the loss of someone, many of you, through a lack of appreciation, some of you are going to lose somebody in your life, lose contact, or there's going to be a disconnect that forms. However, I feel like that's a part of a larger learning lesson, and by the end of the month you will be asked in some way to bring someone in and find that appreciation, and that gratitude shows up in your heart again, and you really actually get through a lot of the things that you have been dealing with until now. There's a lot of people coming through in one way or another to kind of guide you and give you suggestions. Whenever I have a court card in the first position and in the last position, I'm like, oh, a lot of things are going on. Not all of this is going to be exactly uppity, but I don't think that it's a bad thing either. I think you're way overdue for the South Node transit in your first house, which is, it's been 16 years, so, or 17 years, so it's long overdue. You're clogged, and you really need to in some way let go of this karmic energy and adjust the things, attachments. And this is going to be the South Node transit that is going to be the most intense in your lifetime. So, you know, it's going to be something to really think about. We'll get into that in just a minute, but this is what's going on here. That's why I explained in Vimeo. And let's take a look at your court cards. So this is the head honcho here, Capricorn, the King of Cups, a Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio. Now, I feel as though this is a general energy. This is not necessarily manifested in just one person. However, I do feel like you are losing a connection with one person. He's a Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio, or he represents some kind of very special person in your life who in some way, through complicated circumstances, you have lost touch with and are on the brink of losing or have lost. And I feel as though this is a lesson on moving on, but I feel like circumstances have created this, and it's not all your fault. You just need to move on in a new direction, okay? The next message is the Knight of Wands, a Sag, Leo, or Aries. So this is a person who's going to come through. I thought I saw autofocus. There we go. It's not flickering, so let's just keep it going while we can. So this person comes in some way and brings in a lot of, I think, good energy. I think this is someone who livens up your month. They bring in something like a little bit of fun. They bring in a little bit of drama. This is a person who is carefree and kind of, you know, easy, but not necessarily someone who's meant to be a long time. They're a good, willing person with a good heart and a good energy. The Queen of Cups, I feel as though this is a little bit, this is a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising. However, I would say be careful with this energy here. I feel like it's somewhat problematic. I feel as though she's problematic in your life, and in some way I feel like she could in some way be bringing confusion into your life and telling you things because of her own needs, and they could sound very sincere. Queens of Cups have this way about them, but where it's coming from is maybe self-esteem issues, or maybe some other issues that are motivating her to encourage you in a direction that's not right for you. So listen to your own mind and really focus on the relationship that you feel you kind of didn't do as good of a time with as you could have had you of listened or been more grateful. You know, that's the temperament of the month, gratitude. The next message is the Queen of Wands. She's a Sag, Leo, or Aries, Sun, Moon, or Rising. I think that's you, though. I think this is you coming through a whole journey, coming through a catharsis, and coming out as like a virtuous energy, an energy that is shining bright, has learned their lesson, and is ready to really take hold of the power that they are being given, which is really the whole energy for the next 2 years. So I think you're in good standing. I do think that there's things to talk about here. It's one of the most active readings, I would say so, but I do feel like there are a lot of good things to it, and I do feel like you have good people who are in some way around. Okay, so now we're going to move into your tarot and astrology reading. So I'll go sign or transit by transit and explain all the transits. Some of the transits I will do a special video for, such as the full moon, the new moon, the nodal change, because the North Node is moving into Cancer, and Jupiter and Sag. So we'll do all of that this month. Okay, so here is your chart. Ta-da! And so our chart moves. You're the last video. It's just by chance. I pick by draw, but you're the last sign to go this month, and so you probably already have seen my wonderful wheel of fortune. So anyway, so we have the Capricorn energy. Okay, so the first transit, we start off in Leo. Okay, hey girl, hey, that's the first of the month. On November 6th, Uranus will move into your fourth house. Now, Uranus has been in your fourth house for the last 7 years, and now it's going back for 5 months. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's going back for 5 months. And so this is a time in order to problem solve relationship issues with family. It's a really good time to really try to, you know, make an impact in a positive way on family members and family dynamics. Here is your card. We have the Three of Rods, and then we have the Hanged Man, and then we have the Ten of Cups. So I feel like something is coming in. I feel like something is coming in and there's celebration, but you have to wait for certain things to come through, especially family things. You need people to come around. You have to give time. You have to give them time to do so, but you have to do some waiting in order to get there. But when they get there, there will be celebration and joy. So it's a moment of pause to really await some good energy that is coming into your home or through your family, and one which will lead to celebration this month. Not necessarily on the 6th. I think after the 6th, once Uranus is in the fourth house. So once that goes, any day there will be, you know, family at the door. So next we have on the 7th of November, the new moon in Scorpio, and it's in your 11th house of friendship. I think that this is a wonderful new moon, first of all, and I think overall it's finishing up a pretty good transit of Jupiter in your 11th house of friendship. So what this means is that you have had a year in which really good people came into your life. And before Jupiter switches into your 12th house, it's maybe a good idea to bring consciousness to actually who came in and why and what was so good about them. Just keep a note of the new people that have entered your life. With this new moon in your 11th house, it's the last new moon before the switch, before the change. And so you really want to put out good intentions for friendships, luck, opportunity, you know. Even your technology is ruled by the 11th house. It's the house of Uranus. So you just really want to bring in good energy into this house at this time. Okay, so let's take a look at what cards you have for the new moon. We have a dedicated video that will come out for that, but we have Jupiter, which is the Wheel of Fortune. Luck has turned in your favor with regard to relationships. Peace has come into your life, and the Justice card. So something was really made right in a friendship that has long been established. A relationship may have come back into your life, or at least there has been fairness brought into your friendships and social relationships. So if something was kind of unaddressed, then maybe there was kind of justice and order that was brought in some way to help the situation along. So good tidings, new moon, positive energy, set out your intentions. There's the moon about to make that conjunction. A conjunction between the sun and the moon is the new moon. Next we have Jupiter in Scorpio, and it's about to move into your 12th house on the 8th of November. And so I'm not a fan of Jupiter in the 12th house. Yes, it's spiritual and cathartic, but it also really brings up a lot of difficult things that you have left unaddressed. Jupiter tends to make things bigger, and the 12th house is the hidden enemy. So anything that you haven't dealt with in the rest of the houses, Jupiter's going to flush out now, and it's going to get kind of thrown in your face in an intense way. The next message is the Temperance card, and then we have the Seven of Pentacles and the Emperor. So if you're single, you should be saving for a partnership. You should be saving your money for a partnership because it's coming. This is very clearly saying that there's some kind of long-term plans that you are maybe not even aware of. Maybe you don't even know your partner, but that time is coming. Also, regarding business, it's a real time to save money for business. Once Jupiter moves into Capricorn, you will have 2 solid years of financial bliss, opportunities, growth, and I think that you should really put some efforts behind that, and you should be getting ready for it behind the scenes now, okay? So don't waste your time, do things behind the scenes, because when Jupiter moves into your 1st house, that's going to be a game changer for you and your life. It's going to be the consequence that you live through with as a consequence of the previous 2 years transit. So Jupiter in Scorpio and Jupiter in Sag will lead into this. So last year you've met a lot of people, or this year up until now, you've met a lot of key people. Now you're going to do the inner work, and then you're going to really be a showstopper and show them what you've learned. And when Jupiter moves into Capricorn, fairness comes in, because Saturn and Pluto will be there, and there'll be a massive conjunction in 2020 that will really be the pinnacle of this energy that we're talking about every month now. So this year, Jupiter in the 12th house does become a little bit behind the scenes, and this is when you make your personal adjustments, and then you'll bring out whatever you have been working on December 2nd, 2019, when Jupiter moves into Capricorn. Okay? Sounds good. Okay, so next message. I got excited. Did you hear that? Yeah. Okay, so the next message is about the 15th and the 16th of November. The 15th is Mars in Aquarius moving into Pisces. So I like Mars in Pisces. A lot of people don't. Well, Mars is at detriment in Pisces, but Mars in Pisces in your 3rd house allows you to have be much more soft-spoken, and that's something that Capricorns do stand to benefit from. So I feel like if over the next month or so you really want to take on this soft-spoken positive energy, that's the time to do it. Also, Mars is, you can initiate things from the 3rd house. And that's like a positive energy as well. I was going to say something else, but let's just not go there. 3 cards for Mars and Pisces in your 3rd house. And we have, this is the Page of Wands. And then we have the 9 of Wands and the 10 of Cups. So I feel like you're building some kind of nice stability in a nice direction. There's nice communication. There's happiness and joy. People coming together to celebrate, time together to celebrate and have nice conversations. I feel as though it's a quiet time. It's a celebratory time. There could be some kind of ease about it. There's an ease of the environment. in which you're dealing with, and the people with whom you're speaking with, it's all kind of calm and serene and easy. We'll come back to this house when Neptune goes direct at the end of the month, but for the time being, on the 16th, there are 3 massive shifts in astrology. So this whole week, the 3 days before and 3 days after this, are going to be quite interesting. People are going to be really feeling like, oh, we're in a blender, hey? It's not bad like a blender, but it is disorienting. So just be patient with this week. So Venus goes direct in Libra in your 10th house on the 16th. Long overdue. You've probably corrected something to do with your career that has been haywire, that didn't work out. And so I feel like there is a positive direction and a way forward. Let's take a look at 3 cards from this. We have the 6 of Cups, we have the Moon, and then we have the 9 of Pentacles. So I feel as though there could be a crush around work or in your public life. I feel as though there may be a lot of like primping and trying to look cute for someone else, trying to seduce this person. You may even think this person is a soulmate. This isn't saying anything other than the fact that you have a secret crush on someone in the public life, and you're trying your best all the time to look like the best for them. So I wish you luck with that. Let's see if it says something in the next card pull. So next we have Mercury retrograde in the 12th house. That happens on the 16th as well. I have to say, not that impressed. Mercury in the 12th house, I mean, behind the scenes, your mind could be taking you in multiple directions. There could be competing ideas and thoughts that you are contending with, but it's not necessarily the most difficult or awkward transit. It just isn't so bad, and maybe you'll seem kind of funny to people, but a lot of this is happening behind the scenes. Be careful with anybody who may have ill will towards you, who has any power or authority in your life in any way. So make sure that you communicate with them very clearly everything, because they do have a predisposition to in some way take what you're saying, take what you're doing, and try to put holes in it, or in some way take away, or like kind of twist words, whatever. Oh, did you see the nodal change? That just happened. That's on the 15th here. So I guess it's on the 15th, at the end of the day on the 15th. Now there is a true node shift I did last year or a year and a half ago when there was a shift. There's a true node and a north node. I just follow what's on the chart. It's about a week and a half apart, so not a big deal. The next message, but this is the north node and the south node. The other one's the true node, which is a recalibrated point. But anyway, so we have the King of Cups here with Mercury in Sag in the 12th house. Spiritual teachings, maybe trying to combine influence. Be careful. Be careful. Bad intentions of things, and in some way misinterpreting things. Do not get into your spiritual stuff over this next 3-week period when Mercury is retrograde. I think the conclusions that you'll be deriving will be short-sighted, and they will not be necessarily like of a positive nature. So if you're thinking about a King of Cups, a Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio, or if you're thinking of a Sagittarius, you may have a predisposition to interpret whatever's going on for them in a negative capacity. So you don't want that. So here's the nodal switch, and I'll do a dedicated reading for this. The North Node moves into your 7th house, great for partnerships, really learning about partnership issues and things, how you can best improve, where to go. You'll be focused on partnerships, romantic and business. And then the South Node is moved into your 1st house. So this is going to be a huge shift through the next year and a half, 2 years. And right away, you're going to have this moment in your life in which you will be really having the opportunity to disattach from really deep karma that holds you back. through your personality from expanding your life. So if you keep on hitting your head on a wall on certain matters, this is the most powerful transit in your life that will in some way emancipate you from the things that hold you back. So big energy here, and really welcome it in. We will do a dedicated reading for this. That's going to be an interesting one. So I think that's the one that I'm going to expand into Vimeo. But anyway, so you have for the nodal shift, I didn't say it. I had to cough mid-sentence. We have the Emperor, the Nine of Swords, boom, and the Last Judgment. See, I feel as though overall, especially if you're in a relationship or you're dealing with a partner, their thoughts and ideas are going in a very bad direction. And I feel like they're having a lot of internal struggles with what's going on. And I think that they'll ultimately make a decision in a positive direction. My advice for you is to really not allow this flow to happen, because I think somebody needs to come into their own realizations, Capricorn. And I feel like, or maybe this is you, but you just have to reach this Ten of Swords. It has to happen. That, and this is in some way in modern tarot cards, this Ten of Swords is Sun in Gemini, but here we have Mercury in Virgo, which to me really signifies the Ten of Swords, because that analytical mind, you know, down to the very detail. Actually, both associations really ring true for me for this card. But it's like the end of the road has to happen. The deduction has to be reduced. The reduction has to happen to the smallest particles before you can assess it. It has to be completely broken down in this person's mind before they're able to realize that maybe a mistake has happened, or maybe it's time to approach things a slightly different way. But you as well have to do this purging. So the more, it's easy to speak from the sidelines. I'm a Virgo, you know, I had the North Node in my first house 2 years ago. You know, it's easier said than done. But I feel like the main lesson here is for you to release and allow the energy to kind of shape and form you, which is not easy for Capricorn. You're like, Virgo, what? But you basically, it's a hard energy with the South Node to allow it to in some way. It's you have to become humble within this energy. You have to surrender, and you have to allow it to dictate to you without criticism. So in this humility part where you're really going towards partnership, your partner has to have this reduction in ideas and thoughts on the conflict that may have happened. Or if you don't have a partner, this is what the energy is around. It could be yours. You have to, if you have barriers to partnership, maybe you really have to hit the end of that road. Maybe you really have to bang your head against the wall until you pass out. Don't do that. But maybe you have to get, maybe your convictions, your attachment so strong holding you back that you really have to see the dead end. And at that point, this is going to happen. So if you are with a partner and it feels like this is your partner or your love interest and they're not seeing the dead end, you have to let them do it, because they won't reach this unless they have that breakdown, right? And for you, that's tough, because you just want to interject, you want to manage, you want to help, but that's a part of your karmic process as well, to release and to allow things to happen. So this could be happening with you, this could be happening between you and your partner, but it's a really huge message, right, for the first switch of the first nodal switch, you know, the first thing that the nodes have shown us since changing. Okay, so the next message is the full moon, which happens in Gemini on the 23rd. Now, this is in your 6th house. You know, productivity, get your work done, all that kind of thing. Let's see your messages and your cards, yeah? So here we go. We have the King of Cups, and then we have the Devil, Mr. Devil in the house, and the Sagittarius. So there's okay, so I feel as though in some way you are, I feel as though this is the byproduct. Here's the full moon happening as we speak. This is a byproduct of a lot of planning. And these people may not be in collusion, but they are definitely co-opting energetically with their opinions and their mindset. And whatever is coming through in that is a synthesis towards an outcome that has been long time coming through. And I think that equally as you have to let go here, I think you need to, with respect to this situation, take leadership and power and authority into your hands on this one, because I feel as though these energies, these three separate people, independent people together, I'm not sure, I think it's different for every person, these three external energies are in some way, you're being a doormat. You know, you're allowing, and that's weird for Capricorn to be a doormat. And I feel as though you've allowed too many of these opinions to dominate your everyday life. And that's leading to certain consequences, like maybe even anxiety, depression, not being very happy. You're living their opinions rather than your own. And I feel like you have to really take back the power. That doesn't mean that they have to be out of your life, but with the full moon, I think you're reclaiming that identity. Okay. Next, we have Neptune going station and direct. That happens on the 24th in your third house. This is maybe how you articulate something very softly, very gently. We have is this a grand trine off of Chiron, the North Node, and Jupiter? So you have this ability to speak into existence exactly what hurts, what direction you want to take in life, especially in terms of partnership, and from the spiritual space, really understand what the motivations for that are. And from your karmic center here, in the first house, I think that you'll be really understand the root of the problem. When the South Node is here, you understand the root of the issue much deeper than you do on a regular month. Okay, so let's see your cards. Yes? Okay. Cards. We have the Isis Uranus, which is the Empress. And then we have the Star. Good finish, guys. And the Sun. Hey, girl, see, it's all worth it. And I told you guys this, if you look back to the beginning of the video, there was the Queen of Wands. This is you coming through, having it all figured out. And this is why Mars and Neptune together in the third house are going to carry forward this beautiful vision. So if this month is a little bit rough and tumble, I'm really itching to look at the bottom of the deck. So we have the Knight of Wands, which is like the Queen of Cups. Remember, if you look back to the beginning of this reading, that Knight of Wands was in your environment and the outcome was the Queen of Wands. But obviously we only have one court card, so maybe this is all about this person, this Sag, Leo, or Aries, Sun, Moon, or Rising energy that's around you at this time. But I feel as though perfect adjustment, know exactly which way to go, and fulfillment of happiness and joy in your life. But I feel like this reading felt like hard work, right? You guys, when you were watching it, it was feeling like, oh shit, Varouche, can you tell me anything? And I'm like, just keep on trucking, you know, you got to keep on. And I feel like now we see what it's for. And they're the three most beautiful cards in the deck, like, let's face it. So this is you picking up the slack and finding you have to earn this piece of the puzzle. You have to earn this piece of the puzzle to allow it to move forward. Okay, thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Wait, I have another reading for you guys for November. It's going to be using the Blanco Nero Tarot. And here's the King of Swords. It's going to be linked in the About section for you guys. And it's going to be a Celtic cross. I'm going to post it, and if you want the first reading, then Vimeo all the way, okay? Thank you guys so much for joining me. This was a hard reading, but I know you can do it, and the payoff is great, okay? Talk to you soon. I mean, come on. The Empress, the Star, and the Sun, like that's gold, right? I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye. Hey Libra, thank you for joining me, and welcome to your reading for November. I'm excited to be here with you guys, and we're gonna do your tarot reading using this deck. This is the Blanco Nero deck, and it is going to be a Celtic cross. So this was actually attached to some of the videos at the end, but we're going to do it separately for you guys. And if you could leave a like and a comment, I would appreciate it. Ooh, do we look? Seven of Pentacles, and the Strength card with the Page of Pentacles. Long-term goals, trying to achieve things that are possibly difficult to do, difficult to accomplish, but I feel like you have opportunities on the horizon that are becoming available to you that seem like a good deal. Okay, so this was the card on the bottom. I saw that as I was shuffling. This is the Six of Cups, and it's the same card as Sun in Scorpio. It's ruled by the Sun in Scorpio, so it can be a soulmate card. It's not necessarily a Scorpio card, but it definitely has that kind of energy with it that's quite positive. Okay, so let's take a look at your first card. We have the Knight of Cups, Libra. An offer is being made to you. So something is being put forward, something that you want, something that you desire is being given to you or offered through to you in some way, and you are being presented with an idea. The crossing card is the Page of Swords. So this is a Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising. This is someone who is trying to get in the way of things for you. This is a person who is trying to break down opportunities or break down circumstances that you are trying to achieve. Now, this could be manifestation of the general energy in several different people or several different circumstances. So it's not necessarily that it could keep on manifesting, or it could keep showing up in various different energies. So just look really broadly at what's going on around you and see if certain people are exhibiting similar characteristics and dispositions. And this is a very kind of like ready for a fight, ready for confrontation card. So I feel like there's someone who's enabling you with a positive reinforcement, kindness, and understanding, and there's someone who's trying to get in your way. The next message is the Hierophant, and so the Hierophant represents the teacher. It represents some type of authority figure, be it an institution or possibly some kind of educational group. So this is a person who in some way speaks from authority to people, and this is a person who in some way is trying to kind of give some kind of blessing to situations, trying to carry forward some kind of insight into circumstances. This is a person who is a teacher, or it could represent a group of people who have ascribed to a very similar ideology and who are trying to carry forward certain energy. Below the surface is the Page of Wands. He's a Sag, a Leo, or an Aries. This is a person who in some way is beginning a journey in a new direction. This person is excited about the future. Look at all these people in your life, man. This could be you. You're beginning something new in life, something you may have felt very excited about, and something that you are very much looking forward to. It's a new direction. It's something that is really calling out to you. It's something that you don't really know about what it is yet, but I think you're excited. Some of you are in school. Some of you are in school, and that's a priority. And so amid all your education, you might be finding actually something different that you could do that is also very successful or positive. In the past was the Nine of Pentacles, and so I feel like there had been a great sense of security, financial security in particular in your past. There may have been a bit of alienation as you felt so secure in what you had. You were sort of kind of left all alone with everything. It took you away from other people who were around you because you were not necessarily struggling in the same way as they were. You were looking for more. You were looking for growth. The oncoming energy I'm going to keep covered. I like to kind of show that in the late part of the video. And then you have the Ace of Wands, which is a new beginning, a new financial venture, some kind of new sense of spirit towards something that you're excited about. This might be an attraction towards someone. You could be feeling attraction, or you could be feeling as though you really want to take your life in a certain direction. The next message is the Ten of Cups, fulfillment of wishes. I feel like there is around you a great sense of family, a great sense of cohesion with others. You really want to be on the same page with others. You love others very much, and I think that you want to bring more of that spirit with you. You might be dealing with a Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio and really thinking about coming together in maybe even marriage, but really beginning a new phase of life, a new direction. Here is the next message. We have the King of Cups. So either you're hoping that this person is sort of young and that they're going to grow into this, or in some way I feel like maybe there's another person who was somewhat older than the person you're dealing with, who didn't have characteristics that you wanted in a partner, and it kind of put you off. I think that that other person was in some way displeasing towards you. You didn't really necessarily find them too attractive. You didn't find them engaging or interesting. And I feel like that put you off on the whole idea of finding romantic love or situations. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at this card. And so what we have here is, the Two of Cups. So very loving cards for you, Libra. And I'm happy to see that for you. I think in your reading, I was a little surprised because this is definitely coming through for you already. So more of that. Loving energy around you, loving energy around you, coming together with other people, really being in love, really finding common ground, a deep understanding. And I think that you're possibly also hoping that the person that you're with is going to come into their own still. So there's this sense that they're not necessarily where they need to be. However, if you give them a little bit more time, you feel like it's a journey that you want to take with them. You want to move forward together. The outcome card is the Magician. So I feel as though you're approaching someone who has great skill and great ability. This is a person who in some way is trying to create maybe even their own kind of group, their own kind of ideology, their own direction forward. I feel as though this is a time in which you feel super excited about the direction you want to take. And this person is a person of means. They sort of float above all circumstances that they're involved with. And so I feel like you're both heading in the direction of whatever this magician does, whatever their profession is. I think that sort of aligns to what you do in life and what your direction is. And so I feel like you're moving forward in this direction, and this person can either facilitate your joint goals, or he can in some way initiate a new path forward that is positive for you. He sees beyond the energy that the Page of Swords is trying to bring your way. This is a person, not that the Page of Swords is hateful, but Pages of Swords typically represent cruelty. They represent saying something just for the sake of being harsh, or maybe because of jealousy, because the Nine of Pentacles is here. It seems like this is a person who was reneged. They were cast out. They were taken out of the picture, and so they don't take to that too kindly or too easily. And so I think that the problem that you're facing is that there's this kind of energy that's being directed towards you that in some way wants you to pay for, you know, not welcoming that energy. Okay, but that's the reason why he wasn't welcome, right? That's the reason why you move past, is because he was hateful. On the bottom is the Six of Cups. I forgot that's what you got on the bottom, right? I forgot to. We saw this, okay? So this is Sun in Scorpio, Libra, or this can mean an appreciation of a relationship, a step in the right direction, and, you know, the completion of a relationship, the completion of circumstances, and you have a lot to do with that. This is you giving the signal. So it's almost like, you know, having a flare and standing out in the field and shooting a flare in the sky, shooting off a firework. All of those things are indications that you want that love to come in. So I'm not sure what kind of means you have, but, or what the laws are where you come from, but Halloween is just around the corner as I film this, so definitely in Canada it'll be legal to buy fireworks. So I suggest maybe you just go and buy some kind of firework and set it off, you know, as an intention, as some kind of indication that you agree with this reading, because it's quite spotless, right? It's a quite beautiful reading that's suggesting that you will have everything you want. And the relationship that you're hoping will come through, the reason there have been setbacks is that there's this evil eye around you, and so in some way you have been delayed, but it's not been destroyed, you know? I think that you're worried also, possibly if this is another person, you're worried about the interjection of an older person who may want a relationship with you, who may in some way be coercive or manipulating the situation to try to guide you in their direction. That's not the case. I feel as though this person who's coming in has a lot of resources, energetically, if anything, and they're really capable of switching a situation. They see beyond themselves, and their great power lies in their selflessness. Okay? Okay, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye. Hey guys, thanks for joining me and welcome to my channel. We're going to do a reading for the time period in which we have the North Node and the South Node in Cancer and Capricorn between 2018 and 2020. I'm super excited to be here with you guys to tell you guys about this. And today we're going to do something special because we're going to do an extended part in the Timeless Karma series. This is a series we started in September. So now this is the right time to kind of give you some extra videos in there. So we'll put it in there already. It's like a package. You can link it down below. Yeah. And the first thing we're going to do is pick a card from the Colette Baron Reed deck, the animal deck. It's so cute. So let's see what we've got going on here. We have the koi fish. Cool. The koi fish spirit. There is always enough. So that's your message. Always write that, not always write that, well, always write that down, or maybe write it down somewhere where you can find it, because this is like your little mantra for the next year and a half or so. Well, oh, sorry, my camera's going berserk. Well, hold on, let's turn it off. Look at that. I went away for like a quick second and it just went nuts. Okay. So over the next year and a half, you can kind of use that as a message. There's no other way to do this, so we're going to take a look at what sign we're reading for, and that is the Lovers. Hey Gemini, how's it going? Hopefully you guys are doing well. I'm going to get your wheel going here to show you guys what's up. Okay, so here is your chart. We're going to make it move today. And so the North Node is in your second house of money. They go retrograde, right? And the South Node is in your 8th house of shared resources. And this is where we have the massive stellium in Capricorn. So for the rest of the stellium, the South Node will be there, really unpacking a lot of things. So let's begin with the South Node. That is our karma. The North Node represents our Dharma, or where we are going. Before we begin, make sure to like and comment on the video, especially if you're watching a couple months into 2019, maybe even in 2020. Say hi, tell me how it's going for you, okay? So the overall pattern is to do with the South Node here in the 8th house. What is the 8th house about? The 8th house has a lot to do with shared resources, endings, the occult, sex, and I think that's it. And taxes, right? I avoid the taxes. Anyway, so I feel like with the South Node, Pluto, and Saturn together, I feel like you are in some way trying to unpack or trying to let go of karmic attachments to endings, first and foremost. What are the things that you are hoarding? What are the things that you are preventing yourself from releasing so that new things can come in? What are you displacing onto the people around you, shared resources, rather than take accountability for it and take it forward? That's the question here. Now, I mean, you're in for a big transit in this area of your life. Not everybody gets this. You're the only sign that's going to get it this way, because we have Pluto, Saturn, the South Node. They're all karmic planets, and Jupiter will be moving into Capricorn in December 2019. So you're going to have this massive transit to do with releasing of karma. Saturn is the stuff you do. Pluto is what we all do together, and the universe. The South Node is your past lives and what they did to get you here. So some of the stuff you're dealing with is not stuff that you have earned. That's karma. That's why we don't judge each other's karma, right? Because there's like a whole history of it. Your business is your business. My business is my business, right? And then sexual liberation here for many Geminis and Gemini rising, especially if this is happening in your 8th house. But this reading is for Sun and Moon and rising Gemini, so it works for each one of the transits equally. Okay, so why don't we take a look at the past? And I'm using the Klimt Tarot to kind of take a look at that and see what's going. Right now the chart is in the end of March 2019, so that's what the sky will look like. We're going to have a nice big stellium in your 10th house of career. That's a sextile to the South Node. So some big thing in March to April will happen for you in terms of your career that will in some way give you an opportunity to address attachments that have been keeping you from moving forward or feeling like there is enough. Holding on to something, preventing something bigger to come in because you feel as though there is a blockage. Now, these readings are metaphysical, so they're much less to do with pragmatic advice or, you know, he did this or she did that, whatever. I feel like this is to do with karma. So you want to think about past lives, metaphors, narratives, those kinds of things. Your first message is, so you have the Sun. Hey girl, hey, beautiful message. And we have the 8 of Pentacles, having earned and worked for something. This card just fell out. Reciprocity, the 6 of Pentacles, and the 4 of Pentacles. It seems as though there's a legacy of a lot of work here, right? There's a lot of effort put into something. There's a natural connection and a goal. This is the legacy. This is the past life. It's very clear, actually. I feel like maybe there's a reciprocity that was unmet. Somebody had connected. This is past life, and it's reiterating now. This is what you're letting go of. Somebody had connected. People had, lovers, partners, whatever, and they had made promises to each other that they would work together towards a concrete goal with one another. And even though one or several of the people involved in this situation did give back equally, there was a stooge. Look, there was a stooge. Someone was not sharing equally or in a fair manner with the other people, and in some ways this really bogged down the nature of the relationship for everybody involved. So there was a feeling of, you know, everybody was putting in their fair due effort except this one person, and this reverberated through time, and this is the karma that you're bringing in through the 8th house. You're dealing with the stooge. Maybe this was you, maybe it was someone else, you know, sexually speaking, whether it's shared resources. So you're afraid. You feel like you need to hold on because somebody's gonna outmaneuver you from something that is yours, right? And so that has to do with the trespassing of a promise that was broken by somebody who wasn't willing to give. Okay, so here we have the North Node now in the second house. That's big, right? And we have the second house North Node transit in Cancer. Second house is money, your property. So this is where you are tending towards. And again, Sun, Moon, and Rising. If you do Sun or Moon, then this is called the whole house system. So we set the Sun to the first house, okay? Okay, so let's take a look at your chart. Second house, you have the Seven of Cups. So there's a lot of dreams about the direction that you want to go forward. By the way, the second house North Node means Dharma, so the spiritual homework that you have to do in this lifetime, what you need to achieve. The King of Pentacles, there we go, second house King of Pentacles. That's probably one of the most powerful cards you can get for this position. Let's put them up here. And then we have the Knight of Swords, Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and the Queen of Swords, a Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So I feel like you meet people who are, either you attain a really strong foundation or position yourself, Gemini, or you meet somebody of that quality. And once again, that person, the stooge, the Knight of Swords, runs through, trying to take away what was yours, what you've earned, what you agreed. There's formal agreements and there's informal agreements, right? There's these informal agreements that we say to each other, oh, I won't cross your path, or I'll do this or that. Like in marriages, oftentimes when people are mad when they're breaking up, because you didn't do this and you didn't do that, well, tough luck. But what they're upset about is that there was an informal promise that was made. A promise of Sun, Eight of Pentacles, Six of Pentacles. Those are big promises, right? And somebody was just stooging it out. The stooge, you know? And so that happened. That infraction happened long time ago, many past lives ago. And that was brought in. It's like toxic energy kind of comes into the present time, right? And so you're taking it forward from the 8th house to your own position, to your ownership house, the second house. And so you meet all these people. You think you're meeting, you may think you're meeting like a boss. You may think that you're meeting somebody who is really, really wealthy, and that might be an illusion. That's a heads up now that I'm seeing it. But there's also this Knight of Swords. This person, I feel like they could be the Knight of Swords, which is like the Seven of Swords, you know that card? The one that's a little bit of a ninja, you know, the secret, the spy who got away in the cold or whatever. It's an old movie. I've never seen it, but in the night, you know, the spy in the night. Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra breaks through. So it's just, but it's also a template of what you need to become, right? Of the direction you're going. The downfall of the North Node in Cancer right now is there's no other transits around it. So we need like special transits like this one. This is called the Kite right here. This is October 2019. This kite, right? Heading over the back, the South Node, releasing karma and pushing forward. In fact, there'll be a lot of these transits this year. So there's going to be a lot of grand water trines because the North Node is in Cancer. So it's going to balance out Neptune. And then in Scorpio, the transits in Scorpio are going to create a grand trine with that energy. The Sun, Mars, all of them. And they're a little bit spread out, so we'll get a little bit of a taste test throughout the whole year, throughout 2019. So we have the goal of going somewhere. This is also you taking ownership over your things and releasing attachments to the past that are to do with, you know, this. Or maybe this was you. Maybe this was you being the Knight of Swords in the past. You know, they were all like, woo woo, let's build this together, and you're like, I know better than that. I know you're gonna stab me in the back. Like, if you look at like Greece or maybe Roman times, you know, those emperors, they lived for days, not years. Some of them 20 days, 15 days, murder, 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 you know? It's just sometimes like joint ventures aren't the best idea, and maybe you had an in on that. So if you feel like you're on the stooge side, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. You may have outsmarted an enemy. So I'm going to pause the clock now because it's December 6th, 2019. We see Jupiter here. This is going to be your cathartic phase of this transit of the South Node in Capricorn. Now we're looking at 2020. And so this is going to be your catharsis of everything that rolls through your house until that rolls through your life in 2019. All the things that you're going to have to release the endings that you refused to release in the past. It's a continuation of 2018, and because the South Node here is here, it's even more intense, right? And Pluto and Saturn are so close together. That's a conjunction there at the end of the year. So that's really on top of each other, really, really close, right? Really close energy. And then the South Node is in conjunction with Jupiter at the end of the year as well. Just like total time to let go, Gemini. And it's karmic, so it's deeper than things you've done. So that's what makes this really tough. And I don't mean to like milk this, but I want you to really understand it, because I see in the comments and I'm like, are you guys getting this? Like, and it's personal, like it's ego, right? Saturn's ego, right? Letting go, the humility of letting go the ego. And so Saturn, it's like releasing the things you've done. So you feel like you have to release the bad things you've done, but I haven't done it, and then get psychological. But the point is that it's not just psychological, it's spiritual, it's intuitive, and it's in your South Node. It's in your past lives, and it's in the universal karma, which means that has nothing to do. It has everything to do with you, but nothing at the same time, because it's part of all of us. So this big shift in the release of endings, you're channeling and transmutating energy of endings for everybody. So you can't say, well, you know, I let things go, I move on, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I get that. So maybe Saturn's not your bag, but maybe Pluto's channeling something for you, or maybe South Node is bringing something up. So really don't take it personally. So we have okay, now moving forward, I feel as though this is you, Queen of Swords, Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra. I chose these cards, the Blanco Nero Tarot, because they're black and white, which means that you get to fill in the colors yourself. That's the Dharma, right? There's a framework, you fill in the colors to what you want. But I feel like you're going to see through someone's stuff, you know? And I think that maybe this is when the Queen of Swords becomes a boss, when she sees through the BS and the indiscretions. And there's always enough. That's your mantra, right? There's always enough. You always have enough. Keep it moving, keep it popping, you know? All that good. Okay, so let's take a look at your cards. So this is going to be the reading on Vimeo. Please give me a like and a comment on this video. These are your cards for Vimeo. It's going to be linked down below, and these are going to be actually in the Timeless Karma series, because I promised you guys I would make a longer series, and this is how it works. So this is the worst case scenario, I said to myself in my head in September, which is not a bad worst case scenario after all. So this is called the Clarifying Spread. I used this on my channel in 2015 when we were doing the dailies, right? So hey girl, hey. And so let's clarify, and it's kind of coordinating with your chart, but not really. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this, remember, metaphysical answers. These are not pragmatic, you know. These are metaphysical, big picture answers. Hopefully they helped you a little bit. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a nice day. Take care. Bye. Sagittarius, thank you for joining me, and welcome to this reading for August to September. It's the eclipse season and how it's going to lend itself to the forward motion in Capricorn, which is your second house of money. So we like this. This is my second house too. So hey girl, hey, let's get this party started, right? Okay, so first of all, I have a couple oracle cards to show you guys. If you want to find other Sagittarius videos, just check out that hashtag. They don't all come up, so if they don't all come up for you, I don't know what's going on with that system. Just take off the hashtag and YouTube search for Rouge Sagittarius, and you should get my other videos for Sag. I do try to keep them updated. I take off old ones so it's nice and clean. Okay, your first card for today is the Guardians. Ooh, I love this. Okay, so I thought this was one thing, but this is the Knights Templar, I think. Anyway, so these are, I don't care what they are, not today. So Guardians are with you. A lot's going on in your 9th house. The eclipse is in your 9th house. So I feel like you're reaching out to the world at large to solicit attention for the things that are going on for you. And you know, whatever it is that's been happening for you at this time, you're looking outward. You're looking out towards the world to try to make connections and broaden horizons. I think help is definitely coming in. Okay, let's take a look at selves in a box. So I thought with the eclipse happening, it might be a cool idea to do a self that is emerging with the eclipse. So let's take a look at that. If you're watching in September, just think back to this time and see how it resonates for you, and if it gives you insight to some of the complex energies that are happening in September, okay? Here is your message. We have the Critic. Okay, so just take it at face value. It is your 9th house, which is the house of discernment, and I think that in some way you're interacting with your observation of things and how you relate to things and how you relate to the opportunities that are around you. I have 3 crystals for you guys. Look at me go. We have the red tiger's eye, we have a rose quartz, and we have a celestite. And I'm going to throw it over here, and then I'm going to put it on these things because the crystals tend to disappear on the table. And then I will show you my astrology chart. So what we're going to do is take a look at where these crystals landed and what they kind of are giving a hint at. I'm using a little mallet, which is actually really good. It's like a nice wooden mallet for my singing bowl. And yeah, it's working out really well. So Celestite ended up in the 1st house, and it's been showing up in the 1st house a lot. It's alongside Cupido and Saturn. So the people who are throwing you a lot of flirtatious attention at this time, and the people who are setting down all the rules around you, are the people who are really representing spirit to take care of you. So bring in both areas of attention into reverence and have like an appreciation. Oh, they're actually showing me reverence. They're actually showing me consideration by doing these things. Vesta is also the natural aptitude to see things in a specific way, and I see Cupido is actually at the galactic center right here. That's pretty special. So Cupido is like romantic attraction. It's Cupid, right? It's not like Venus. It's like where attraction is being directed at this time, and it's in your 1st house. So very lucky for love. Here is the next message. We have Venus in Libra in your 11th house. You're going to have a very social month, it looks like. And then we have a lot going on in Aquarius in your 3rd house. I think that you're going through a lot of crystallization of your personality, and it's going to be hard to communicate that to the outside world at this time because Lilith is here. So you're going to try to share of yourself, who you are, who you want to be. I think Venus even propels you to want to connect with others. However, I think that as you are dealing with especially old patterns or patterns from past lives that are hard to understand, I feel like the conversation with others is going to be in some way shrouded with mishaps or difficulties. To add to this, Mercury is retrograde up here in the 9th house in August until the August 19th. So that's going to add to communication mishaps, but definitely not in September. So when we're looking at the 3rd house here in Aquarius, I feel like you're tripping over your own words, and I feel like you're tripping over your own words, and I feel like when you want to share of who you are or what you're thinking, I feel like people will not understand it. So the best thing to do is wait 2 months Allow yourself to have your self-understanding come through, personal growth, etc. And then in a couple months, share those recollections or understanding then. So the new moon eclipse happens on August 11th in your 9th house. That has to do with potentials for travel. It also has to do with sharing of ideas and concepts. Until August 19th, you are going to struggle because Mercury is retrograde up here, and then the North Node is here as well. So it's again, it's like salt and pepper. It's like a little bit yes, a little bit no. You should be sharing your ideas. You should be having provocative thoughts. You should be thinking about which direction you want to go. But at the same time, things are kind of backwards. Things are sort of not being communicated effectively. People are misunderstanding. So the intention is good. You're getting a lot of the intention is good. You're getting a lot of attention, but just the manner in which things are happening, they're not happening too great. One little thing I just noticed, I didn't really talk about this red tiger's eye, but here we have Chiron in your 5th house. It's gone retrograde for now and is going to transit into Pisces. So the 5th house is the house of fun, and you're going to be revisiting why you don't allow yourself to have more fun. What is it in your personality, that's Aries, that prevents you from having more fun in your life? You're going to have a 7-year transit doing that. And I think that initially with the red tiger's eye here, expect very sizable and noticeable things to come through in August and mostly September that are going to teach you, like, boom, that's why. And then again early next year, boom, that's why. You're going to have events that come through that are going to be, you can calculate or you can measure, that will show you exactly what's holding you back from allowing yourself to have more fun in life. And when you see it, then you can solve it and then you can heal it. And so in September, when you initiate all these ideas and thoughts on August 11th, you're getting ready for this. And in September, we have Mars going direct in your 2nd house, Saturn going direct in your 2nd house, and Pluto going direct in your 2nd house. The 2nd house is money, and it's the house of Capricorn. Now, Mars will actually technically go direct on August 27th, but this whole shift is starting on August 11th and is really, really noticeable in September. What I would say is very much keep your mouth shut. Don't get involved in too many discussions, because once you start trying to explain yourself, it's like a self-propelling issue that you will have to deal with. So it's better just to stay quiet at this time and work on where you will put your efforts for financial reasons. And I think that that will prepare you for a real nice push in September with regard to financial matters and all of that stuff. Okay, so now I'm going to pick 6 cards from tarot. Look at this, we're getting everything. Let me know how you like this format. I kind of like this format. We can talk about this, we can talk about that, you know, it keeps it interesting, right? Okay, so let's take a look at this. Okay, so here is your first card. We have the World card. So this is really suitable up here for your 9th house, right? Because the 9th house is long distance travel. So there could be something that's emerging in mid-August that allows you to travel. Remember, the Critic card is here. So don't be too critical about the opportunities that are around you. People may think of you as a critic a little bit right now. You're still decompressing Saturn in your 1st house. So when you are speaking your mind, you may be speaking it with a lot of authority. And so people can be like, whoa, Sag, I thought you were chill. And you're like, I am, you know. But I think the general environment around you is good. I just think that you should really kind of welcome and not be dismissive of other people's ideas and concepts so much. Here is the next message. We have the 8 of Rods. So loving communications and acceptance are a huge part of what's going on for you. This is Mercury in Sag. I love this card, and it's like sharing with other people all of your inspired ideas, all the different things that you see. By the way, I mentioned this and some of you guys may not know what it means, but the galactic center is like the observed center of the Milky Way, and so which is the galaxy that we live in. And so Cupido at the center of the galaxy allows you to have, like, it's almost like standing on a mountaintop. It allows you to have very clear vision about desire and love, and you know, it's happening to you, but you're also a part of it. And so therefore your words, your communications are spreading the good vibes, and those good vibes are coming straight back at you. I suppose the next message is the Ace of Rods. So there could be a lot of romantic connections. In terms of the astrology, it's not very good for romance at all, except Venus in the 11th house. So a lot of a lot of flirting with friends, having a nice time, taking it easy. Your 5th house of romance has Chiron in it. That's not so cute for love, but maybe you will actually figure out if you are struggling with love over the next 6-year period. You will really learn why it is, so you'll get headway into figuring out how to solve that issue if you do have an issue with love. And then the 7th house has nothing in it for a while, so that's that. So the Ace of Rods is also new beginnings in business, and we're talking about September here. It's all in the context of August, right? But in September, new beginnings with regard to work and new directions with work are really possible, and lots of money will be coming to you quite easily. The next message is the 5 of Cups. I feel like you are going to take a risk with regard to love. And I think it has to do with, in some way, feeling vulnerable and having your own vulnerabilities, kind of exploring your own vulnerabilities, and through that noticing tenderness in other people. Remember, you have Jupiter in your 12th house for 2 more months. And what that means is that at this time, things get a little bit awkward. The things that you didn't want anyone to know get so big. It's like having a bad zit. It's like, or a pimple, you know, you don't want anyone to see. And that's the pimple that has to get super big right on top of your nose. And it's kind of an awkward time with Jupiter in the 12th house. So in other words, the things you don't want other people to notice, they will get really big and noticeable. And so some of those things are going to be quite awkward over the next 2 months, and that's been kind of the thing for the last year. Here is the next message, the 3 of Rods. Lots of fire stuff and good fire cards too. So I think good things are coming in for you, especially with regard to business opportunities. Here is the last card. We have the King, or the Knight of Cups, a Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio. Somebody is making some kind of offer. This can look like it could be like desire that is coming your way. I think people are coming into your life to help you and support you. And I think that the new moon eclipse is a big part of that. It's like you're kind of sending out vibes in order to get the good people to come in, either new people coming in or old people coming back. Venus is about to go retrograde in Scorpio and back into Libra, so I feel like that will reconcile any relationships that don't have closure on them. But I do feel like a lot of help and support is coming your way. I think people are going to come and help you and try to help you heal your heart so you feel confident about moving forward. But your mind should really be on the money house, on the 2nd house, because this movement forward is going to be big. So you don't want distractions. You don't have... The reason I'm saying there's not much going on for you in terms of romance is not that I want to be a hag. I actually just want you to focus on money right now. And as the sun moves through into Virgo and over to Libra, then you can really capitalize on that, especially after August 19th and definitely after August 27th in September. So get things out of the way. Don't try to problem solve your relationships. Allow the good relationships to come in and support you while you focus on money and your personal growth. And I think that's what Spirit wants for you. it wants you to kind of really find reverence for yourself, right? And act through that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful new moon eclipse and a wonderful September. I'll be out with more videos soon. Check out Varush Sag or Varush Sagittarius hashtag, okay? Thank you. Bye. Hi guys, thank you for joining me and welcome to your reading for Venus retrograde. Venus retrograde begins on October 5th or 6th and ends on November 16th. I don't know what sign I'm reading for, but you guys do. What I've been doing is picking 3 cards from the Dame Darcy deck. That I will expand upon in the Vimeo reading, where I'll do a full 9-card spread on what we've talked about here and more. So it's interesting to find out what I can get without even knowing the sign, because I know a lot about astrology. So when I see the sign, then automatically I'm thinking like, what's the transit and whatnot. So let's see what cards you have. So you have the 5 of Pentacles. So 5 of Pentacles is normal with Venus retrograde. The Chariot. So somebody's overcome material hardship in the past. And the 5 of Wands. Okay, so and what to do with all this energy. So I feel as though there have been decisions made to overcome material hardship in the past, and I think that at the end of the day, look at all these angry mermaids. They're so mad. Why are you mad, bro? So I feel like in some way there's all this contention about exactly what the manner in which somebody overcame their circumstances, you know, but when you're in that 5 of Pentacles position, it's hard to judge exactly, you know, hard to judge exactly like what's right and what's wrong. This looks kind of fun because on the one hand, this looks really devoid of activity, the 5 of Pentacles, and here the mermaids are looking like it's just so active and like too much energy. So I think that there is this kind of balance that you're trying to achieve between latency and like hyperactivity. Let's take a look at your angel card. We have the message of love. Hey girl, hey. I wonder what sign we're reading for. We're reading for Aquarius. Look at that. So it's been frustrating, and now I can kind of see why, because Lilith is in your sign. So of course there's going to be kind of nothing to everything. But the bottom line is love. The Chariot card represents Cancer, the sign of Cancer. So there could be love with a Cancer or something like that. I'm going to get your wheel set up, but in the meantime, if you can just go down below and click the notification bell on. People are still asking about notifications, so that's how you do it. If you've subscribed to my channel recently, you will not get notifications unless you hit that bell and it has the 2 lines over top, okay? Also, I'm going to do the expansion part of this reading on Vimeo. It's just a little reading. It's only like 5 to 10 minutes or something, but it will clarify these 3 cards, and it'll be a part of your October package, only October. So if you've purchased the October videos, extended videos, then that's a little bonus for you. Thank you so much for doing that, and they're still available to rent and buy if you like. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at your astrology. I keep on skimming over it because I've been doing so much. So you guys have a big deal transit. Venus retrograde at the top of your chart. This probably has a lot to do with career and your public life. And so Venus will be in your 10th house in October, and then in your 9th house in the month of November. So I feel like there will be opportunities to clarify things with people from the past, maybe even revisit some of the things you thought about them. And I think that there is a fair bit of resistance to that. However, I think that the main energy that you're putting forward into these situations is love. So I'm guessing that most likely you will be able to reconcile it and find a happy medium between one and the other. You know, being by yourself and being alienated with less resources, to being around people and wanting to tear your hair out because it's just too much. Okay, that's pretty much all of it. By the way, Venus is in a 8-year cycle, so that means that she had begun her transit 8 years ago in 2010, and so now she's culminating. And the first transit in 2010 was actually in the same position. So you are in some way repeating those patterns, so you can think back to 8 years ago and see what kind of messages were available to you then. Let's take a look at your cards. This is the Lucy Cavendish Oracle Tarot. I really like this deck. It's one of my favorites. So let's take a look and see what they told me about Aquarians. So you have the Hanged Man stuck in a situation. It may be stuck in a situation at work or other circumstances that you can't really control. Then you have the Star, which is your card Aquarius. Destiny, fated events, dealing with soulmates and connections. Your relationship may be strained right now because of financial reasons. The next message is the 9 of Wands, pause, observation. So I feel as though you're really wanting to go a certain type of way, but again, there's a necessary step in which you're supposed to find the middle ground for things. You're not supposed to fly into extremes and, create all these kinds of haphazard turmoil types of energies, but you hate being held down. You hate being held back from things. And so I think that in a certain way, you are uncomfortable in this position, but you are choosing some kind of reclusion for certain times, because I think that in some way you're seeing this come through in your life, this frozen hot and cold dynamic, and you want to figure out a balance to it all. The next message is the World card, and so I feel as though there's someone in the world that you really want. There's someone who lives far away, and I feel as though you can't really necessarily, there are factors that are keeping you two apart or that are making it hard for you to be together. You've been really trying to, this is Moon in Aquarius, by the way. So for those of you guys who have Moon in Aquarius, 7 of Swords, you've been really trying to maneuver this situation to make it work in any which way. I think there's a deep love there in your circumstances, but I think that it's become a very, very heavy burden for you to deal with. The next message is the 8 of Rods. So you will have like positive affirmations or positive reinforcement that will try to encourage you to maintain a relationship, but I feel like in some ways you are still how do you say this, you are still contending with the fact that the weight is really heavy. I just realized I was supposed to do the heart-shaped spread, but we're just going to finish this one and call it a day. I'll do a heart-shaped spread for you guys another time. Sorry. I think I might just do it this way from now on. Yeah. So I feel like you are, so I feel like you are in a certain way kind of, how do you say, being reinforced towards keeping the hope alive, but I think that also at the same time you're feeling the burden of this, and there could be someone who lives far away that you're just in love with, and you in some way just really hope that you two could be together, but you're starting to realize it's not possible. The next message is the 4 of Wands, and so I feel as though there is this home situation, a balance, a shared perspective between you and someone else. I feel as though there's understanding and love in circumstances. I feel as though there's great support for the things that you want. I think that you see a home in a future with someone, but they may live like across the country, or they may live in a different country, and I feel as though it's a big risk for you to try to go be with them, and so it would change your whole outward life, the whole 10th house, everything would change without them, and so I feel like in some way it feels like a risk you're not willing to take. The next message is the dreams of chance, which is the Three of Wands. I think that you're still like leaving it up to dreams. You're hoping that your dreams will bring this situation around. You're hoping that the things that you hope will bring it into fruition. Although I think that you understand on some level it's going to be a very hard path to take. But look, new love energy is just around the corner. So maybe this is in November, or maybe you get some, yeah, I think something closer to home is going to come up, and it's going to be very nice. Like lots, you need that pause, Aquarius, because I think when that pause happens, you recalibrate and you'll find a love closer to home. On the bottom, you have the tradition card, which represents the sign of Taurus. So this may be a Taurus person who's going to be very important for you in your life. Okay, I hope that you guys enjoyed this reading. Thank you guys so much for checking out my channel. Please leave a comment and a like. I would greatly appreciate it. Have a nice day. Take care. Bye. Hi guys, thank you for joining me and welcome to this reading for Venus retrograde, which begins on October 6th and ends on November 16th. This is the 5th time that Venus has gone retrograde in the last 8 years, completing a 5-point cycle, which actually is a coming around full circle of events. So you can look back to 2010 around this time, October to November, and see if it parallels in any of the experiences that you were having back then. I don't know what sign I'm reading for yet, but I'm going to pick 3 cards from the Dame Darcy deck. We're going to take a closer look at them in your Vimeo reading, but in the meantime, I'm just going to pick 3 and show you right now. So your first message is the Nine of Cups. So some type of fulfillment of wishes is going on for you at this time. Something that you wanted, you're revisiting again. Next is the Hierophant. This may have to do with the Taurus, or it may have to do with someone who you are marrying, or maybe coming into a close connection with. Here is the next message. We have the Knight of Swords. He's a Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra. So someone's coming in for a purpose. Either they're coming in quickly to defend, or they're coming in quickly to attack. Let's see a Angel Oracle card for the clarifier. Spontaneity. So something unexpected is going to come through, and I think that's something that will solicit from you a lot of attention. So it's like suddenly somebody wants you to get married. Suddenly somebody's coming around and they want a lot for you. Well, Gemini flipped out, so why don't we read for you guys first? This is the first one that I'm doing. So I think unexpectedly somebody comes through with an offer. That could be the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords could be you, Gemini, but it can also represent a Sun, Moon, Rising, Gemini, Leo, or Aquarius. It can also represent just somebody who's coming in presenting something. Here's some information. Here's what I came to the conclusion about. Let's get married. You know, that kind of thing. I would ask that you guys turn on the notification bell down below. That will tell you when I'm doing the readings. And also, if you guys want to get the Vimeo reading where I do the extra cards for this spread, you can go to Vimeo down below, and you can either rent the episode or you can buy the whole package for October. So I'm putting it in the October folder, so anybody who gets the buy all option for the October videos will have that included. And thank you so much for everybody who's rented and purchased videos. That's very kind of you, and it helps me in the channel. Okay, so your first card, Gemini. Oh shoot, what am I doing? I should show you the astrology. Hey, let's take a look at the astrology. There's so many parts to this reading. Hey girl, hey. Okay, so here's Gemini. Just a quick run through. So this retrograde period starts in your 6th house. This is for the majority of October, and in November moves into your 5th house of romance. So I feel as though things will heat up definitely after the 31st, but already you should probably see a lot of things coming up for you immediately in October as well. So you may be even getting hit up right now by people from the past, kind of making connections with you and making connections with you, or reconnecting inviting you over. Maybe an air sign is kind of scoping you out to see if there's any chance of a romantic connection. Let's take a look at your heart-shaped spread. Hey girl, hey, did I announce that? Let's see. So the starting point of this relationship, wow, starting off with a bang. So we have the Emperor card. So this represents that this has been a stable relationship, or it is a stable relationship that you are thinking about, or the Venus retrograde period is kind of expounding upon. And so I feel as though in some way you are doing a lot of communicating, maybe on a daily basis with someone, and there's kind of like a sharing of the minds, sharing of the hearts. This always reminds me of The Little Prince, that one that kind of traveled the universe. The next message is the Three of Swords, unexpected revelation. So these cards represent your ambitions or fears in the relationship, test of confidence. So I feel as though in some way you've kind of gotten yourself into kind of a comfortable place where, for whatever reason, you have not been opening up your heart too much to love and relationships. So maybe this is the only way to make that connection right now. I think in some way you are currently facing a lot of things that seem like huge impressionable things, and now you are trying to push forward and find your identity within them. Here is the next message. This is for what your prospective partner is looking for, or for whoever is coming around with Venus retrograde. The Moon. Be careful that they are not being kind of duplicitous towards someone else in a relationship, but there might be a deep desire that is calling them to you now. And the Sun. Wow, okay, so there's a divine connection here. They feel it from both sides. They feel it from the Moon, and they feel it from the Sun. So both energies want them there. I think what they're looking for, the relationship, is like the complete situation, the complete deal, a complete coming together of circumstances. I think that this is a real mismatch for you right now. In some ways you're definitely mourning or overwhelmed by the situation, whereas they are very much inspired. So hopefully you guys can figure out a common ground. Here is the next card. This is for you, your next step. Connection with the Empress, the Mother, or maybe some kind of feminine energy, creativity. Maybe you yourself are pregnant, or maybe in some way you are really connecting with the ideas of femininity, the divine feminine, all of those things. I think Venus in the 5th house is children, so if you don't want children and this energy is around, make sure that you don't go crying into his arms when you're weak, you know, and then make some choices that will have consequences. So this is looking very much like you could have a moment of weakness and make some decisions and then end up, you know, eating pickles. Here is the next message. This is the next step for him. We have the Four of Cups. So I think that he's thinking of making an offer for you, he or she, depending on what your preference is. But I feel like somebody around you is wanting to make an offer to kind of give things a chance. But I don't think that they're fully 100% committed to that energy yet. I feel like in some way they're feeling a bit overwhelmed by everything. I think that they're still considering their options. And I think that in some way you feel like this energy is super important to you right now because you have been through so much. So the focus is in some way shifting the direction towards something much more, whole and pure. Here are the next two cards. We have Follow Your Dreams, which is the Ace of Rods, and then we have the Eight of Cups, contemplation. So I think that you're going to make a move on something or someone. I think you're definitely going to in some way initiate, and then you are going to kind of feel your way about it and think about exactly how you feel about the situation. The next message is two advice cards for your prospective partner or someone who you are interested in. Wisdom of experience. So I think this person knows exactly what they're doing. I think it seems to me like you're caught up in something, Gemini, whereas they are in a certain way really motivated to be doing what they're doing. And so I think that they know exactly what their feelings are. They're clear on their feelings. Look at this, all arcana up here. I think they really know what they're up to, and I think it's you who in some way has to figure out your feelings. Maybe you're fresh off a breakup, or maybe you're just distracted in other ways. I think somebody's coming at you with a lot, and on some level it's exactly what you want, but then on another level you just have to kind of deal with it also. The next advice card for them is the Nine of Swords. So don't be too hard on them, because they care a lot. So whenever somebody cares a lot, there's always this part of stress and anxiety about a situation. So will it work out? Will it pull through? How do things like this work out? All of this energy, they're really nervous about it, and I think that you being indifferent will only accentuate their anxiety. So I do feel as though the feelings are reciprocal. It's just you have to figure out how to kind of make that visible, or make that a thing. The outcome card is the Hermit, which is the card of Virgo, wisdom of solitude. I feel like by the Venus retrograde, you're going to be really kind of drawing out towards a direction that's right for you, maybe taking a step back, maybe romance with yourself, you know. I think that what's going on is that this person is putting a lot of feeling behind what's going on, your connection with them. You know when you like someone a little too much, and it's just kind of like a little bit awkward. So I feel like that's what's going on there, and I think that in a certain way it makes them feel super vulnerable. And so I think that what you are being asked to do is kind of be attentive to this, because you're way in your head. You're in your head, you're in your emotions, you're thinking about the past, you're thinking about ideal situations of what you truly want. And so I think by the end of the retrograde period, what you are going to be reconciling is the need to some way do your own thing, the need to in some way kind of draw back, be by yourself, think about what's going on, and then also be very careful for not cold shouldering this person, because you're hurting this person if you're doing that. So if you do need downtime, everybody has a right to downtime. It's just the manner in which you ask of it, right? Because if you ask for it in a harsh way, then maybe that person's feelings will get hurt. So if you need some downtime, then just kind of ask for it in a soft manner and not just take it. And I think things will work out that way the best. Remember, their feelings are like this. If they're being capricious, if they're being, whatever, then I feel like that's coming from the fact that they really care. And I think they see you as the sun, the moon, the stars, all of that stuff. So take your time about it. Think about what you want, and follow through when you're ready, but things will move very, very, very quickly for you with this Venus retrograde. Now listen, I'm going to do more cards. I'm going to do a 9-card spread, starting with these 3 on Vimeo. That's down below, so you can check that out. Thank you guys so much for watching my channel, and I will talk with you soon. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.